You went into the medical tent at one point, came back out, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. What was the difference for you guys?
I just started praying. I was in pain, but I trust my teammates. We kept fighting. We never gave up. So all the glory belongs to God. He's the one that brought me through.
Where was the pain, Jameis?
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I never listen. I'm gonna listen. I wanna listen to the Dumb Zone.
Well, hello there. It's the Dumb Zone on a Monday. It's show 253. Can you guys see your monitors?
No.
Okay, just making sure. It wasn't just me. Rob, into action, 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 action. Dan's still out. He will join us for the back half of the show today. He is in Cleveland. He was there yesterday for a big day in Cleveland Browns history. Deshaun was booed coming out of the tunnel. Contrast that with the return of Nick Boner Chubb. And then Happy Baby tore his Achilles. Dan was there for all that.
It's funny, Dan seems to be more fascinated over football with a particular chain restaurant.
Yeah.
That's garnering most of his attention.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Dan.
No, who is this talking right now?
Everybody, give a warm
Everybody
welcome
knows
to today's
heavy metal.
special guest host, Danny Heavy
you doing?
Metal Balis.
Rob with the classic rock video edits. You get to zoom in and out real quick.
I think I went Surf's Up instead of Heavy Metal. I've been out of the game too long.
What's
So
up?
Danny's here, in for Dan. He'll be here tomorrow as well. Dan will join us for the back half of the show today to give us our Browns report.
What are you doing?
Transition. Yeah, it is funny. We talked about it the other day. That when he goes to Browns games, things happen.
Yeah. The last one was the Mason Rudolph game.
Yeah. Big things.
And the last game he was at, it was the only time the Cowboys were good this year.
That's also true. Now, he didn't step foot into the stadium, but boy,
Yeah,
I
he
was
did.
feeling.
He was in the Spanish
Oh,
radio
that's
booth.
right. He didn't sit with the common folk.
He never does.
That's right. I was feeling good that day, Blake. And it wasn't just because I was there with Heart Attack Man who supplies what you need to feel good.
Yeah.
It was, we were flying high. Aubrey's kicking from 70. It's good times, and it's been pretty much downhill from there. But I will say yesterday was awesome. It's the best weekend of the season for me.
Cowboys bye?
Mm-hmm.
It's pressure free.
Or a Monday or Thursday works too. It's pressure free.
It's stress free.
Normally, what TV networks do is they put teams with games with good teams on television for the country to see, and the Cowboys is the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I'm at home, I don't do Sunday Ticket. I have Red Zone, but I usually don't even fool with it too much because I'll go with God and the games that the suits selected for me. That's what I did yesterday.
Yeah. Lions-Vikings was cool.
It was awesome. So was the afternoon game.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice.
I've been calling that real football.
Yeah, it is real football.
There's Cowboys football, and then there's real football.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So yeah, that's what we have in the back half today. Is Dan will join us. We'll talk some Browns. We'll do some news. But before then, we're going to do some football. And before then, we're going to do a weekend check, which is brought to you by the fine folks at Frankel and Frankel. They are personal injury lawyers. Danny, who are they chosen by?
The people.
Who are they feared by?
The insurance companies.
I knew he knew it. Didn't even.
He's
prep
not even
for
reading
that.
the copy.
He didn't even prep it.
I can't find it.
Now, are they based in Sao Paulo or Hong Kong?
Right
or
here in the Metroplex, Jake.
should I call them 2, maybe 3 days after I get in a wreck?
No, it's unless you're like really hurt and you need to call an ambulam.
Mm-hmm.
No, all you got to do is pick up your phone and you remember.
Well, hold on.
Whoa. No, you call them first.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because the case starts immediately.
But I bet if I wanted to do that,
Mm-hmm.
do I have to dial like a +1, like I'm a country code of some sort?
You don't need a country code. They're good from either major Metroplex area code, 214 over here on the east side, or for you West Coasters, 817. And then all you have to remember is the number 3.
That's right.
Just think Babe Ruth. They're like the Babe Ruth of lawyers.
Yeah.
What's up?
That's exactly what they say. When I call, will I talk to a janitor or some sort of low on the totem pole type?
No joke. Cold called the Frankels one time on the air to get some legal advice on something we were discussing.
Yeah.
Expecting fully to get a receptionist to answer, patch us through, called 214-333-3333, and Gene Burkett picked up the phone.
Yeah. He's a good man, that Gene Burkett. They'll take care of you. They know what the insurance company's trying to pull on you. You know what? I saw a video this weekend going around of like not fake, but hit and runs where people are trying to pull scams.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Somebody does that to you, you call the Frankels, scam is over.
Yeah.
That's the end of the scam. That's how they do it at the Frankels. Thank you to the Frankels, 214-817-3333. So for weekend check, anybody want to grab the ball? Blake? Danny?
Yeah, I'll go because I don't have much.
Well,
I think you guys kind of spent a portion of your weekend together.
we did.
We did.
As
You
usual.
can share stories.
I was going to begin with the Eagles
What happened?
remaining undefeated in district play.
Awesome.
It was-
Well, not overall, but yeah, district play.
So that was my Friday night in Mansfield. Did a little weekend wrap-up Saturday morning, and then, headed out to Arlington. And I think I told you this. When I heard what the party was and where the GPS was taking me, I couldn't quite compute it.
Yeah.
Because this is pasture with horses and all get up in Arlington, right off Randall Mill. So it was kind of strange to turn off 30 and, I don't know, go a mile north or so and then turn off into the country almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you know what they say about Arlington on all their brochures and stuff. It just says "Discover Arlington," you know, because there's so much there that you might not know about.
Might be something to it.
Yeah,
But yeah, appreciated the party. That anything to get them away from a screen is cool. And I don't know, it just kind of feels good to, I don't know, go back to nature, I guess.
be outside.
Yeah.
Perfect day.
SG way of saying that, but
So you discovered Arlington.
kind of.
Yeah, that's right.
The slogan worked.
That's right. And below it says more than the Judge Roy screen.
Yes.
There's some nature out there.
More than
for
the
sure.
Texas Giant.
Yeah.
I appreciated the start time of the party. I feel like you guys know it's got to be at least 2 o'clock or after for afternoon nap.
This is a controversial topic. So what I'm with you. I think that 3 o'clock is the second best start time. I think the best start time is like 9 or 10.
100%.
10 a.m.?
Yeah. Izzy's TC's daughter's birthday last year. It was either 9 or 9:30 or 10. And you're done by noon, so you can still probably hit the nap roughly on time, and you're done. You're done for the day. That's my favorite, but that wasn't really going to work because this place sounds super, super white, but I think they do like horse riding lessons in the morning. And then after that, you can just go there and the kids can do like a small trot with the pony. You can paint a horse, which seemed really beaten for the horse. Paint a pony.
Alliteration.
They had like a white pony that is just chill, and kids like paint the pony.
Really?
They stick their hand in a
and put
mound
your
of paint,
handprints
and then
on
you go
it,
and you can draw or whatever.
And the horse is just cool with it?
Yeah, just
Sits
chills.
there?
And then we saw the horse like 20 minutes later, and we're like, "Is that the same one?" Like they just pose it and it's done.
Yeah.
But the girls loved it, the kids loved it.
Yeah, they gave it a bunch of hay and it was cool.
Yeah.
Just sat there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool. And then played a little poker Saturday night.
Oh, wife gone? She always works weekends, right?
Yeah, she's gone. Got some babysitting after the party.
Nice.
And then just really sucked it up at softball Sunday morning, and then here we are.
Hangover?
No,
Slight? Okay.
no, I'm just old and
You're old. What did you mash better at, softball or poker?
I'm not a poker player. I don't have the patience for it. Like if 5th or 6th hand in, if you want to go all in, let's go all in.
That's something I'd like to be good at.
Poker?
Yeah. I know it takes time, though.
Yeah.
Time?
Yeah.
It's hard. Have you played much?
A little, but not enough to know really what to do.
20 years ago, I guess, when
that was the heyday.
Oh, my God. I never got into it like I wanted to just because I didn't have a bankroll.
Yeah.
But playing with guys that really knew what they were doing, it was always funny to see their reaction when they played with somebody that wasn't familiar with the game or maybe plays the way Blake does impatiently and will just go all in with nothing because he wants the game to move along. To watch them get so frustrated and yell at the people, you're not playing right. And it's some girl that just, never has really played before and wants to get in on a game and puts her money up. And she looks at her 7-2 offsuit and says, yeah, I think I'm going to go all in. And she'll end up winning, or river riders, people that will just keep betting, just waiting on that final card. And the problem is in time, if you play that way enough, you're obviously the odds are against you, but it can benefit you if you're playing for like 30 minutes or an hour, and you can kind of wipe people out just out of sheer luck. But it's really frustrating to play. I didn't really care that much because it was never like a massive amount of money that I was risking. But playing with guys that really know what they're doing, it's fascinating. And I learned a lot about it, but I just know myself, and gambling is not a road that I need to go down.
No, I loved playing. Like I like playing cards. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of hate that that's gone away. People don't sit around and just play cards anymore. And so I enjoyed that aspect of it.
Who put this together? This poker game?
Monty?
Oh. Did you do it like out somewhere?
No, at his house.
Okay.
Watch some Texas, Georgia.
That sounds fun.
I mean, it's crazy. I would have thought could be a part of it. Hypothetically, it sounds like all like people that I'm friends with.
Right.
Would you have attended if you were invited?
Of course not.
No, so
That's not that you don't know that. I'm not Dan.
yeah, but you're Jake, who has a million things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Going to play poker,
That's probably not a good environment for you to be
your
in
one-legged friend is probably not high atop your list.
after your previous month.
Yeah,
Being
I mean,
at a poker game with Monty.
you gotta get through it somehow or at some point.
I mean, his kitchen table probably looks like was on Frank Sinatra's rider.
Yeah, I mean, he does like live at a pool hall.
True.
So it's probably not a whole lot of
Well, I hate that
sober folk in there.
I hate that I missed the party. As I texted you Saturday morning, my son, who was with me on Friday night, he decided to wake up at 4 a.m. Actually, no, he was with his mom Friday night, but she told me he woke up at 4 a.m. and he's been up since.
It's always a fun.
And he won't nap. He's done, and that's out of the equation. Naps are over. So it's basically a wild ride of a bipolar baby where the highs are really euphoric and the lows are extremely low. And not only did I not want that for myself or for him, I definitely didn't want to project all that onto a birthday party that wasn't his. But I agree with you on the start times. 9 o'clock is perfect.
Yep.
It's absolutely perfect. And if you can do it on a Sunday,
Whew, you're gonna get a cheaper rate too.
it's cheaper rate. It doesn't screw up all of your friends' Saturday that they've been waiting all week for. And you do it at 9 in the morning on a Sunday. You just do donuts and coffee. The kids love donuts. The parents love coffee and donuts. You're out of there by 11 o'clock so dads can get home and watch football. And it's an excuse to skip church if you're still into that fallacy.
Yeah, no, that's a solid play. That's a solid play. Three wasn't horrible, and it also helped that it was a really awesome day. Like we got very very lucky.
Yeah, you did.
On the weather. Yeah, so we did that. That was the other thing was they put all the kids on all of us on a flatbed trailer and sort of just pulled it around the property, which included stopping at the stables and feeding horses apples and carrots. Kids love that.
That's so cool.
Shit. Yeah,
I like it too.
it is. I felt like I bonded with one of them. I'm creeped out by horse people, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Like
gorgeous, majestic animals.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, but
And
people
to behold them in person is something. It's something to experience if you've never really done it before.
People who get really into horses, though, there's something suspect there. I don't like.
It's just, dude, it's no different than people that love their dogs on a level beyond what I think any of us.
I'll just say it. It feels like some people are attracted to horses.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm saying. You know?
They're hung, I guess.
It was funny whenever they were getting ready to put there were 4 of them in like this main riding area, and the kids could go out and they had a helper put them on. Brooks did it, right?
Yeah.
And they kind of trot around, and right when we walked up, I can't remember which one of our friends it was, but somebody was like, that horse is excited. Just a massive throbbing horse boner.
Oh, no.
Massive.
Yeah.
Were the kids affected by this as far as
I don't
what's
think they,
that?
I don't know
notice
that
it?
anyone noticed. No. But I mean, he was rocked up for the birthday party.
It's so smart for kids' birthday party. We all 3 have boys that are within about a year of one another or so. Toddler age boys. And there's doing the party at home, which we did for his first. Never again.
Yeah, it's tough.
Never again. I'm glad to pay the whatever $150 to rent out Place Street Museum for 90 minutes because basically here's $150. You clean this shit up. We're leaving.
Yeah.
Rather than having people in your house using your toilet, you got to deflate the bounce house and wait on that ex-carny to come pick that up and load it onto his flatbed bed, never at the right time that he says he's going to be there. Can I just leave it there overnight? I'll get it. I'll send Otis to go get it in the morning. Yeah, fine, dude.
Otis ain't waking up.
No, Otis ain't getting up, especially on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing the party at home, it's off the list.
Super
it's
stressful.
Not an option anymore.
We did the party at the house last weekend.
Yeah.
And it's not that the party sucks or cleanup is that bad. It's just the stress of the week of getting everything clean, getting everything tight.
There's that.
People are going to stay the night and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it.
All we had to do was get the pies, the pizza pies delivered. Shout out to Mama's.
Oh, my
It's
gosh.
been a minute since I've eaten
Yeah.
at Mama's. That was a staple of my youth.
Oh, Mama's?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big hit.
Yeah, the last 2 Malcolm parties, well, until his third, which we decided to do at a remote location. The first 2 were at the house.
Why did you just make it sound like the party was at Area 51? We were at a remote, undisclosed location.
Yeah, at Place Street Museum.
Langley?
But the ones we did at the house, it was for first and second birthday parties, it was Pizza Inn.
Oh.
So I went back to my old roots.
There you go.
And the one on Live Oak, dude, it holds up.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
exactly the same as it was in the 80s.
Hey, the one over in North Richland Hills, it's probably technically Richland Hills, is kicking hard. Managed by our good friend,
Your buddy, right?
Our good friend DB, Danny Binion.
Have you ever done the pizza order for a party and you really overshot your estimate?
Yeah.
And you end up giving like a full extra large to everybody that attended to take home with them because you just ordered too damn much?
It's just tough, especially with kids. So I did the math, and what I ended up with was I gave Blake about half a pizza, and then there was about another half to 3/4 left. And another family member with kids took part of that. We left with like 4 slices of cheese. So not too bad.
That's not bad.
Not too bad at all. I know my pizza math. I'm really good at it. It's a skill of mine.
He understands radius and circumference.
That's right.
And area.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've told these guys this before, but I was the pizza orderer for my family from a very early age. And I learned all the tricks, folks. Because I would call, and my mom would give me the order, and I would tell my mom the total, and she's like, no. And she would call back, and I watched how she worked, and she would always get it $6 or $7 cheaper. The first thing you ask is, do you have any specials?
Yeah.
And if you know roughly how many pizzas you want, let's say 2, get specific. What are your 2 pizza specials right now? Not, do you have any 2 pizza specials?
Right.
You go in with an intent. And if they don't have something, they'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
It's a matter of it all depends on how you phrase the question. It's not, do you?
Right.
Because the answer can simply be, we don't.
Not at this time.
You assume that they do, and then you ask them what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just play them up. You might get something free, something cool you didn't even know about. What else did we have going on? Father-in-law was in town, Louisiana father-in-law. Dude, he brought me some boudin with shrimp in it. Shrimp boudin. It was already cooked. All we had to do was throw a few links in the oven, and I'm like, this is God made this. I love boudin, but it was real shrimp chunks in the boudin.
You leave it to the Louisianans to come up with the wild-ass idea to put rice in sausage. And I'll be damned if it's not one of the best things you can ever eat.
Oh, it was so good. So he was there. Sister-in-law, I guess is what she is technically, was there. Kristen's half-sister. And that was cool because the boy's big enough now to where – he goes crazy on a bike and a scooter and all that stuff. Father-in-law's like, all right, now I got the one I wanted, the boy.
Finally.
Yeah. So he's really into it. What else did we have? Oh, a lot of football, obviously. I feel like there was something else I wanted to tell you guys, but now I don't recall it. Watched a lot of sports. Hell of a lot of sports. College football Saturday.
Yeah.
That was nice. How bad were you at softball? That's kind of been bugging me since you said it.
I just hit singles. Couldn't elevate, which means I couldn't celebrate.
So launch angle was just
horrible.
Garbage.
Just absolutely atrocious.
Too tired? Just mentally
just
lack mental focus?
Just didn't have it today, Danny.
Consistency is what makes separates the professionals from the weekend warriors. You got to be able to go out there every time and deliver, and you didn't.
I know. I used to be able to.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I might hang it up.
That's sad. One other thing I did do this weekend in my quest for full transparency. So on Friday when we got done with work, it was the first time I was ever like, damn, I want a beer.
Oh, really?
First time since I left. And it was like Friday afternoon. The weather was perfect. I'd had a hellacious work week trying to get a bunch of stuff done. And I was like, damn, I don't want to get drunk. I want a beer right now. And I called my wife and I was like, yo, hey, I told you I'd tell you when this happened. I want a beer right now. And what I'm going to do is I went to Tom Thumb and I bought my first 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer.
No.
One Blue Moon did the trick.
Yeah. One fake Blue Moon.
Yeah. They have like 1 million of them now.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, it was just O'Doul's.
Or Coors Cutter.
I didn't even know that exists.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like, that's probably tastes like piss.
Man, they've made.
But they have the
European game is strong.
Tom Holland, Spider-Man came out with one. Dak Shepard has one.
Yep. They're real skunky and
they make it IPAs and stuff like that.
Totally.
Honestly, I had one of those on Friday afternoon, sitting out front with the kids on their scooters and bikes. I was like, that's exactly what I was looking for. A fruity, crisp, refreshing drink.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Did you miss the
No.
But was there any kind of placebo effect when you drank it?
Kinda.
It felt like maybe I'm a little buzzy.
I felt relaxed.
Okay.
There's a 0.5% alcohol in each one. So basically you'd probably need about 9 or 10 in 30 minutes to feel like you drank one beer.
Right.
So it's not there's no effect to it, but you do feel just I felt relaxed. All right, cool. We're chilling out. And again, AA is super against this idea. Some people will tell you
I was one. That
was a horrible idea. But I don't know. It's case by case, whatever works for you, each person. But I went to the store and looked at it, and they had probably 10 different kinds, and you could order online.
It sounds like you wanted the flavor and the taste of the beer, not the experience of what it does to you.
Yeah, I was not thinking about that at all. What I was thinking was, I don't want another LaCroix.
Right.
Fine product.
You've been hammering those?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was already on that. But yeah, we'd mix it up with all the various versions. Obviously, Topo's the king.
Topo's the king. Glass bottle only.
Of course. Yeah, of course. But, at some point you're like, all right, I've had enough lime and grapefruit water.
Right.
Because I don't drink soda at all.
Same. I haven't had a Coke in probably a decade.
Yeah, because I thought when I went to treatment, that is a big thing. Because first of all, if you've been drinking a lot, your body's going to crave sugar. Because, people, and that's why people were so pissed that there was no candy there.
Oh, wow.
Because they were like, I have to have more sugar in my body right now. And so anybody that I know that's been to treatment, they got really into soda. And there was one dude there, he was probably 45, 46. Actually, this is the dude that cut my hair for 4 packs of wintergreen long cut. I never saw the dude without 2 Pepsis in his hand because they had a fountain, and you could just go fill it up as much as you wanted.
Really?
Yeah.
You like that?
It's a dream.
No Coke or Dr. Pepper.
I'm a huge soda guy.
Do you want a soda
Unlimited
fountain
Pepsis
in your house?
Oh, yeah.
Unlimited
Also-
Pepsis
that's
and
the
like
next
7
step.
or 8 other.
and then move up to the Taco Bell?
They also had Gatorade fountain, orange fountain Gatorade, which I'm a big fan of. Throw that in like half water. But yeah, he was just like, I would literally never not have a beer in my hand. He worked on a painting crew, and he was like, we just drank all the time.
Dude, it's that old school way of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever told you. I was probably in college and had come back home to visit. And you know what happens in college? You kind of discover weed and drinking and drinking more than just finding a way to acquire the beverage and then sneaking away and maybe having a couple or 3 or whatever. But when you're in college, you're on your own. You kind of do whatever you want. So you kind of understand what your limitations are, how much it takes to get to feel like the way you want to feel. You know what it takes to get you to be sick. And you kind of gauge your, what
I never thought about that, but yes, that is
kind of when you discover that, because you don't have any real accountability or have to sneak in late at night and pretend you're not drunk because your mom's going to see you. And I remember coming home from school, and my uncle, my mom's brother, lived on the same block as us. He owned an auto parts store on the same block, and his wife ran the city cleaners, which was on the same block. And my uncle is like this old school, skinny, tan dude, sinewy, not an ounce of body fat on him, chain smoked Winston cigarettes, owned an auto parts store. And that was the place for like old crusty dudes to hang out. Like you'd walk in there and there would just be guys just sitting around, just chewing the fat, just chopping it up with my uncle. And he invited me when I came in. He was, you want to go fishing with me and your cousin in the morning? I was like, yeah, that sounds great. All right, meet us over here at I will probably get started around 5:30. You got to get out there early when they're biting, right?
Sure.
So I got there, I think I walked over across the alley, got there at 6 o'clock, and I walk in, and it's him and his son, my cousin, who's older than me, quite a bit. He goes, you want a beer? I'm like, not really, but when in Rome. So he goes, yeah, there's go back to the fridge.
Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Yellow Belly?
Schlitz.
Okay.
There was Schlitz in Old Milwaukee.
If you give me 2 more guesses, I probably
You would have gotten there. Yeah, it's a very, very short path. And he goes, we got a case of beer this morning, and I went back there to get a beer. Mind you, it is 6 in the effing morning, and that case of beer is now a 12-pack. Those some bitches had already run through a 6-pack each by the time I got there.
I bet they cleaned up out on the water that day too.
It was amazing. They took that 12-pack, and I think they had more. We went fishing at this tank. I'll try to make this brief. My uncle's idea of fishing is to get 3 rod and reels, cast them all out on the tank.
Of course.
Leave them on the bed, get back in his big-ass F-150, start it up, and chain smoke and drink while he's watching the bobbers. And if one moves,
head on down. Yeah.
That son of a bitch caught probably 15 fish, and I had like 1. And they drank beer all day until about noon. We go home, they eat lunch, and then they open the brown drink.
Yeah, of course.
And that goes on until they pass out at 8:30 at night.
That sounds like a hell of a day to me.
So, yeah, when you talk about rehab, those guys.
Yeah. There's people. But again, this guy worked on a painting crew, but he made good money, and he cut hair on the weekends at like he's not at like, Gennaro cuts.
It's amazing.
And he gave me the best haircut I've ever had.
It looked great when you got it.
Yeah, and he's like, I just had a beer in my hand or 2 from the time I woke up until the time I went to sleep. So he always had 2 plastic cups of Pepsi at all times. And he was fit.
Yep.
He worked in manual labor. So
crazy. Just the understanding your tolerance and realizing that is a real thing. I mean, those guys drank a case of beer each and then hit brown drink in the evening. And, me now, I think the last drink I had was probably a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago. And it was 1 or 2. And I felt I'm done. I don't need to feel any more drunk than I already do after 2 drinks. But then there's times where I could drink like 9 or 10 drinks in a 5-hour period and feel about the same.
Yeah. So shout out to the non-alcoholic beer if that's what you're into.
And the functioning alcoholic, the highly functioning alcoholic.
That's very, very true. All right, Blake, let's get into some sports.
From the wonderful world of sports, Radio Sports Scoreboard.
I feel like Blake played that sounder for a second.
Kind of like rush me
Kind
along.
of like the Oscars
Hey,
when your
yeah.
speech goes too long.
Let's get this.
Sorry.
Come on.
Jeez. This
Enough.
Sports for the Day is brought to you by Early Bird CBD and their gummies. Speaking of enjoying yourself and not feeling like garbage in the morning, that is what the Early Bird CBD gummies can do for you. And you might be thinking like, I've heard of CBD gummies, but all the same, blah, 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 same thing. Oh, yeah? Well, these are different. Here's how you can know that we're serious about this. Do not take them if you have a drug test you're worried about. Why? Because they have actual THC in them, a microdose. I almost said mild, then went with microdose, 2.5 natural THC. They're not necessarily sleep gummies, but they are nice for a nice relaxation. You're heading out with some friends. Maybe you're going to a concert. I might go see Mark Rubier this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
The Luke
nice.
Daddy. I will be enjoying my Early Bird CBD
It's a good idea.
before checking that out.
I need to get a hold of these. I have not tried them yet, and I'm keep waiting for one of you guys to open up your backpack and hand me a couple. Because I think that would be awesome. Because like I just said, if you're not drinking really or at all in your case, and you still want to kind of chill out at night and maybe kind of feel something that's different than your day. And I've tried CBD and I've never had really good luck with it, but this sounds right up my alley.
Yeah.
Kid put down gets a lot easier.
Yeah, I think he's talking about him, by the way, Blake putting his child down by him, Blake taking the CBD gummy. I want to be very, very clear about
They're vitamins, son.
When he's going nuts,
Okay.
I'm a little
Edgy.
less,
Okay.
an edge. It's great.
God, I think
No,
we
I'm
cleaned
not
that up
It takes
properly.
the edge
giving
off
my
of you.
child THC.
Right.
Yep, I think we cleaned that up properly. So, yeah, I could give you some, Danny.
Please.
And I will. But also, other option, earlybirdcbd.com, where you can use promo code DUMBZONE. That's good for 20% off as long as they're a client. So go to earlybirdcbd.com and enter promo code DUMBZONE, 20% off. Get you some Early Bird. It's nice little evening, take the edge off. Hey, take some and go for a walk on a Saturday.
I'm all about it.
Highly recommend.
I'm going to use this coupon code and get 20% off at their website rather than relying on you boneheads to share your stash with me.
Hey,
I'm not sharing.
respect. All right. Thank you to Early Bird CBD. So sports today, we did have, I guess we'll talk a little Texas and college football tomorrow, but it was just a great weekend of watching ball. Just a great weekend of watching ball. NFL yesterday, we had a couple of big-time matchups. Didn't see this coming, but right now, pending the Vikings quarterback situation going forward, but it feels like Vikings-Lions is going to be a 4 or 5 year rivalry that we get to watch twice a year. It's very exciting. I like both their coaches. I like Jared Goff. I tolerate Sam Darnold. Both of them have a bunch of super fun players on both sides of the ball. Sucks Hutch is out, but didn't seem to be a problem for him on Sunday. They were still all over Darnold. That was a fun game. Back and forth and back and forth. And, of course, the Lions come out on top. Dan Campbell. And they just have so many guys I love. We talked about this last week, but Jahmyr Gibbs with a nice 45-yarder. I love watching most teams second and sometimes even third backs and being like, that would be the best running back Dallas has.
Well, yeah, he was a first-round pick.
Sure, but, even Aaron Jones is old.
Yeah.
And, they were able to pick him up. I don't know what his deal is. It's probably not more than a couple years. But he's 29, and he's still giving them plenty.
Yeah, my main takeaway from that game was look how fun these teams are.
Yeah, dude's doing crazy stuff.
And not like off the wall. I mean, just different formations, motion, just unpredictable on offense. And I left that game thinking Cowboys are not in these guys' league at all.
No. Amon-Ra is such a beast. Right now, it feels as if he's edged in front of CD.
Really?
Right now. Better scheme, better quarterback, better offensive line. Not better quarterback necessarily, but playing better right now. But better offensive line, better scheme. He doesn't have to do it all himself. I mean,
does he have anybody else in his core that garners attention?
Yeah, that's
unlike
right.
CD.
Yeah. Both running backs can catch. Sam Laporta will pop up every now and then.
Laporte is a 2. Jameson Williams is a 2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they definitely stacked up picks. But then, on the other side, I mean, the fact that Jordan Addison could be considered a third wide receiver. And I know his numbers haven't been great, but he had a 51-yarder in this game. That was a fun game. NFC North.
Dude.
Might not be that bad. Plays a fun brand of football, too.
Just a historically garbage division,
Yeah.
too. I mean, that from top to bottom, out of those 4 teams, what was this, week 7? Week 7. They have 6 losses between the 4 teams. 2 5-1s and 2 5 and 2.
Yeah, the Bears were on the bye, but
that's right.
Even the Packers yesterday, the Texans didn't play great, but the Packers, they eked out another win.
Yeah.
I mean, there were good games yesterday that were like, these are what real teams look like. Texans, Packers, that was a fun one. Lions, Vikings. Let's see, we had the Joe Shane game.
Yeah, that played out exactly how you thought it would.
Where Saquon goes back to New York. Of course, the famous scene from their Hard Knocks offseason where the GM of the Giants is deciding that they're not going to go up to a certain number for Saquon. And maybe in the long run it'll end up being the right decision. Who knows? But their owner, the rich crypt keeper, walks in there and he's like, I sure would hate to see Saquon. I don't know why I just turned into Bill Clinton.
Keep going.
In an Eagles uniform. And they're like, well, he's not going to Philly. Well, he did. And then in his first game back, he went 17 for 176. God. Couple catches as well. Like, Jalen Hurts still looked like ass.
Yeah, he has. But, I mean, even if the Giants keep Saquon at that number, I don't know, what would he have, 15 for 40? That's not a good offense. He was not going to make or break that offense. I feel like that's the right move to let him walk.
It might be.
And it's just
but
unfortunate
it won't be
where
this
he went.
year.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to figure a big-time drop-off is coming for Saquon at some point.
Yeah.
It's a 3-year deal. They benched Danny Dimes.
Wow.
Sort of. I mean, they were getting their ass kicked, but they got Drew Lock.
Put on. I did see where the Eagles sacked him 8 times.
Yes.
So maybe it's a little bit of protection for him.
They're so screwed. I love it. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I needed them to stay bad, and it helps that Philly is struggling too. Like, I think yesterday or the last 2 weeks, Philly barely beating the Browns, and then watching Jalen Hurts yesterday, even in a win. I think I've changed my mind from Philly's just kind of asleep and they'll wake up and they're still a real problem in the division to that team's just not very good. And I need 2 of these teams to suck so that in week 16 I can convince myself the Cowboys still have a shot at the playoffs with 2 games left. Because the Commanders are now, unfortunately, actually good.
Yeah. Need to hear about what Daniels is going through.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I want to ride Mariota if I'm a fan of the Commanders, but Cliff might be that good when he's just an offensive play caller. Mariota was awesome yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like he did when he was good for, like...
At Oregon.
Yeah, a couple of, like, decent stretches in his career, but the way they were using him, the weapons they have, like, he's throwing touchdowns to Zach Ertz, who somehow is still...
He knows that system. It's amazing how they've gotten to be a cool and fun team in just 1 year. With DQ, Cliff, and Jaden Daniels. It's amazing.
Yeah, that says a lot about the perception of your ownership, because you never really want to have a situation where you get fired or leave a company, and within like 3 months, everyone's really just like, this is totally different. Like, that means you're a cancer. They get a new owner, they get a new quarterback, they get a new coach, they get a hot-ass OC. Their running back got shot and came out to 50 cents mini-min.
Got Scary Terry.
Scary Terry's over there. They got Eckler for whatever that's worth.
Question about Cliff. So, what are they, 5-1?
5-2.
5-2?
Yeah.
If they run through the NFC East, make the playoffs, make, somewhat of a dent, look good in the playoffs, will somebody be seduced again? Maybe not this year, but next year, if that trend continues, will somebody be seduced by Kingsbury enough to offer him another head coaching job, or do you think that he's?
I could see it.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Even though that now you kind of see what his deal is, that he's a really good OC, but as a head coach, maybe not so much.
I don't know if I would be super on board. I'd be on board
because there's other. I feel like there's so would Mike Zimmer be an example of that, where he had head jobs before? I know, and now it's just kind of like you are what you are, and you kind of stay.
Yeah.
In that.
Yes,
on
but
that rung.
He's old. Like, he's 68. So at that point, you're like, I'm not starting again with Mike Zimmer. Whereas with Cliff, he's still young enough to where – and he's an offensive coordinator, which, whether this is wise or not, makes owners hard. And it makes GMs very, very fired up about it. So, I don't know. I would say I don't know if it's the right move, but he'll get another head coaching
He'll get another opportunity.
And the team or the organization will tell themselves – he probably learned a lot his first time around.
Yeah.
And you can't really argue with the results of what he gets from quarterbacks. Kyler was hurt a lot. Their team was just in shambles. But from freaking Manziel to Baker to Caleb, there's to obviously Patrick Mahomes, and now Jaden is like – it's year one, and they're already talking about the guy being in the MVP race. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but I'm pretty sure, given what Jaden Daniels has turned in, Cliff is going to get offered another job.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals, they had a couple years under Cliff where they were decent. Now they fell off, but I remember them beating the Cowboys pretty bad here. And the best Kyler has looked has been under Cliff.
Didn't we have like an RG3 Romo moment with Kyler Murray and Dak where he kind of gave him a
Did we?
Keep your head up type thing?
You'll get there.
That was a low point in Cowboy history when RG3 torched him in a win and get in game, and he just kind of like patted Romo on his head. He's a rookie.
Messed up his hair.
He's like, you'll get there, pal. Probably not, but I'm going to say that. Let's see. What else did we have? So Saquon, that was a fun one. Yeah, let's talk Chiefs. Let's talk Chiefs-Niners.
Niners are okay. So when you look at the NFL, you see elite, and I think what's going on in the Central or the North is pretty special in the NFC. And then you have like obvious garbage, and then you kind of have that gaggle in the middle. And some of the gaggle, they are just what they are. And then the other part of the gaggle are teams that that should be good, but they're riddled with injuries.
Yeah.
Which I think San Francisco kind of falls under that category of a team that should be better than what they are, but they're just banged up. I think the Cowboys are kind of both.
Yeah.
I think they're banged up and they're also kind of garbage.
Yeah, I mean, that's and it's interesting too because all of the Cowboys' biggest injuries are on the defensive side of the ball, and for the 49ers, it's primarily the offensive side of the ball, especially after yesterday when Ayuk left, carted off, and Debo was apparently sick. That felt a little shady to me. Like, he wasn't on the injury report, and then he plays a couple plays, and you're like, he's sick, he's been sick. Like, okay, well, why wasn't – I mean, I don't care about this because I don't really gamble, and I don't play fantasy. But if I were really into that, I'd be pretty pissed off. Like, that was a big-time weapon, and he played 3 snaps and left the game because he's sick. Well, he didn't get sick at 4:25 Santa Clara time. He had to have been sick for a couple days.
It could have been one of those things, though, when he woke up that morning and you feel great when you wake up. It's like, oh, I think I'm good to go. And then you try to exert yourself in any way, and you realize you're not as good as you thought you were.
What if he had diarrhea?
He could have had diarrhea, Jake. Dirty, dirty diarrhea.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would make an exception for diarrhea, guys. That's
It's something you don't argue with.
That's true.
If somebody tells you have diarrhea or they have diarrhea, you just believe it.
Yeah.
I've never had anybody tell me that I've had diarrhea.
If I ever do in your presence, I will tell you.
Will you tell me that I have diarrhea?
No, like,
Danny, you have diarrhea.
you know, no one's ever said that to me before.
I'm gonna speak it into existence.
Like you're
Yeah.
a magician. You have diarrhea.
Obviously, no C-Mac. Ayuk goes down. Like I said, Debo's sick. Heck, Ricky, I don't even know how to say the white kid's name.
Is it not Purcell?
Purcell, yeah. Had to step in for him, make some plays yesterday, and he just came off the injury reserve for being shot.
Yeah. But he was supposed to be their Debo replacement.
Well,
But yeah, without all the weapons, Purdy looks pretty pedestrian.
One of my favorite things in sports is how we just, when we're, like, at some point I had to be like, I was wrong about Brock Purdy because the results were just too overwhelming. And I could say, like, yeah, but he's got all these weapons. And they're like, yeah, but look at all these plays he makes off schedule and his athleticism. And the more I watched him and the more they won and he played well, eventually I was just kind of like, all right, F it. This guy's actually good. I had to concede to Dan. And now we get to see what it looks like when you don't have, like, the best 5 skill position players grouped together you could possibly imagine. Pretty spare.
Yeah.
Look pretty spare. Holds on to the ball too long. Inaccurate throws.
Oh, we didn't mention Trent Williams got kicked out of that game, too.
That was BS.
Well, yeah.
I get second guy always gets caught when it comes to scuffles and whatnot, but for ejecting someone, I think that means they looked at it. And if they looked at it, then you should be able to see he got punched in the helmet first. That should have been a double ejection. Also, I'm not really sure. I don't remember who the player was. I'm not really sure that if there's a single digit on my jersey or it starts with a 2 or a 3, I'm not hitting Trent Williams in the head.
Yeah.
It's a bad plan.
Yeah.
He's
That
like
feels like
Zeus.
feels like a 90s number thing.
Yeah. It just you're a little guy, little fella. But the Chiefs, man, they're doing this every week.
Why were they were underdogs? That was the silliest line of the weekend.
Well, I can think of a couple reasons, maybe. One, they've barely been winning.
Yeah.
Barely. They're on the road, and you had the 49ers are hungry. Because, one, they were sitting at 500, and 2, Mahomes has beat them 4 straight times, including twice in the Super Bowl. And it was only like 3, right?
If that. May have been like +1 or something.
Well, it's not like the Chiefs played great. Mahomes had a tip pass for an interception, he had a bad throw, but he also had some ridiculous plays, including probably the play of the game because it set up them to score to go ahead. A lot of people are upset about this today, but it was the 33-yard scramble.
Yeah, I don't quite know what to think either.
I think, and I'm not just saying this because he's a close personal friend of mine.
Because you get to call him Patrick.
Yeah. But I think what the rules are, you just use them. And it's the same reason why if James Harden played for your team, you would learn to like it. They're going to call the game how they're going to call the game. And if you didn't see the play, what we're speaking of is he takes off to the left edge, and when he's 4 or 5, maybe closer to 10 yards past the line of scrimmage, he starts to do his slow down, chop your feet like you're running out of bounds move while he's still in bounds, which most of the time means a defender that's coming at you will let up because they know if you hit Patrick Mahomes at full speed when he's even a step out of bounds, it's 15 yards at minimum. So he just started throttling down, and the defender stopped, and he just, like, slipped inside of him and kept running. He's like, I'm stopping, and you are going to stop as well because you think you can't hit me because I'll sell this and bitch about it. And the guy just ran right past him, and he kept running. It kind of happened twice. There were 2 dudes who could have ear-holed him, and there was a bunch of, football players from the 60s and 70s yesterday that were like, football's woke and gay now. This kid would have been in a hospital had he tried this in my day.
Did people protest saying he can't do that? Like, were they demonstrative on the field with the officials afterwards?
I don't think so. I don't think so because it's not illegal.
Yeah.
Because the other thing he does, which I've always thought was hilarious, that more people don't do it, I've mentioned it 1,000 times, is just the flag football move. Because when you get to the edge in flag football, if your quarterback knows what he's doing and he's pretty athletic, once he hits the edge, 0 people out there have the spatial awareness of a real football player. They do not, and the field is not always marked like the way that an NFL field is marked. People do not remember where the line of scrimmage was. So you'll routinely see it. Our quarterback is awesome at it. He will pump fake on the edge,
whether he's
6
no
yards
how long,
past the line of scrimmage, and every single time, a DB will just jump up in the air and he'll run past him, and he'll do it again. He'll do it in midfield, like in the middle of the field. But it's like, where's he going to throw it? It works every time, and Mahomes still does it because in that moment you're like, oh, shit. So he did both those on that play, and then set up a touchdown. And he also just absolutely trucked a 49ers safety at the goal line for a score and kind of did a little standover. That was tough. Malik Mustafa, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a dozen tackles, but in a very cool athlete move, when he got to his phone after the game, he immediately tweeted, this is the safety for the Niners, tweeted out the meme of that guy, the GIF, just saying, I'm not going to lie, I got cooked out there.
That's cool.
Like he knew. There's going to be an image of me Mahomes standing over me.
The side-by-side of them without their shirts on is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that guy's like, just looks like an
yoked.
Adonis. Yeah, Mahomes has got Coors Light belly in the locker room.
He's been fishing at 5:30 in the morning.
Right. With Uncle Ken.
Let's see. Anything else for you? Because the biggest story of the day probably was Jameis and Deshaun. So we're going to save that for after. We do have a twofer again tonight. Is this every week? Are they trying to do it most weeks, I guess?
What, the doubleheader Monday Night Football game?
Yeah, as long
where
as
they
it's
stagger them by what, like, is it an hour or 90 minutes?
They've done it two different ways. This one is 45 minutes.
Okay.
They have had them like a West Coast, East Coast game
Yes.
where they've done it that way too. But I don't really understand the rhyme or reason behind it. I guess I'll take it.
This looks like it's the last one.
Okay. There have been way more this year. Am I crazy?
Another one in week 15. But yeah, it feels like that was a week 1 thing, but now it's...
Yeah, they always did it week 1.
What's the logic? Just to get more eyes from offering multiple markets?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because you can only show a few games on Sunday in each place, so I guess why not?
What are the viewing options? So typically Monday Night Football is only on one network. How are they doing this?
I'm pretty sure that there have been times before where one was on ABC and one was on ESPN.
Okay, still part of the same parent company.
And I think ESPN has all of it in there somehow.
Yeah.
I think this one is ESPN, and if you want to watch Chargers Cardinals tonight, which you don't.
I don't.
I believe that one is ESPN Plus. But big ABC and big ESPN will have Joe and Troy on Ravens Buccaneers, which is a pretty tasty matchup.
Hell yeah.
The only thing that stuck out to me was Doug Peterson kept his job in the second half because the Chargers were down, or excuse me, the Jaguars were down 10-0, I think, to the Patriots.
They were. In London. He didn't get left there.
So didn't they spend the whole week out there? Or they've been there before, the Jaguars?
They've definitely been there before.
Oh,
like this season.
They're the team of the
Yeah, they played the
UK.
Bears.
That sounds right.
Or maybe some, I don't know. I can't keep track.
I'm pretty sure they played there this season because
They have.
That's the time that I was telling you guys that the TV was on early one Sunday morning, and my roommate walked in and was like, "Are you watching women's football?" Because Trevor Lawrence was on the screen.
That's
Interesting.
He had never seen the guy before, so
Sure.
he just looked at him on the sideline and thought, "Hey, that's a nice looking lady."
You want to talk about Russ last night?
Yeah. Here, I'll play you a little bit of Russ audio. I thought this was funny. It's not really funny. It's just Russ is so generic and so – I think this guy I follow, Andrew Brandt, former agent, he tweets a lot, was like, this is like if AI created a quarterback.
Russ, first game for you since the preseason. What will allow you to get acclimated quickly?
Man, just being with the fellas, man, celebrating. What an opportunity it is. It's a great Sunday night football. We got one play at a time, be locked in, great fundamentals, and let's go get it.
What's the biggest obstacle that the Jets defense presents for you?
And they fly around, and they know how to play. They create turnovers and all that. We got to protect the football, go make big plays, and, it's going to be a great battle tonight.
What's the most important part of your routine from now until kickoff?
Man, just stay in the zone, Stay in the zone, listen to my worship music, and let's get it.
Best of luck. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Russell Wilson clearly in the zone.
Whoa. Russell Wilson clearly on cocaine.
Yeah. Just listen here. This is for the real heads out there. As I throw it back to the studio, you get a very subtle Garrett goofy laugh.
Best of luck. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird night. I mean, they got down. Aaron Rodgers sucked at the beginning and then kind of got hot. Russell Wilson threw, I tweeted this last night, early in the game, the worst pass I've ever seen attempted in an NFL game. Like, he was attempting to throw something out to the flats.
Yeah.
Kind of, if I recall, it was like a bubble. But it was a throw that would have been caught, like, behind the line of scrimmage. It was not like a downfield throw where it's like, oh, he threw it into the stands. Dude, it looked like when Tebow was trying to learn how to throw. Like at the NFL level, and you would see those. It looked like me. Like trying to throw the way you're supposed to throw. I can't do it. The receiver just looked at the ground like, what
was that?
What? And on the next play, it wasn't much better. And I'm like, dude, this is awful. He's so done. He went from let him cook to cooked. And then he got going.
And he looked pretty good.
He looked way better than he ever looked in Denver.
Dude, yeah. He throws a very catchable deep ball. And
Pickens likey.
Pickens was great.
Yeah.
They're starting to use that giant-ass tight end they have.
Boy, that guy is a beast.
Yeah.
Didn't Aaron Rodgers have a tipped interception that kind of wasn't his fault?
Yeah.
Late in the game or at some point?
Yeah, but he wasn't very good past the first quarter, maybe first quarter and a half, but it was not. That team just sucks. And Devontae did nothing. Like he was, I don't even, let's see what targets he had.
God, we were talking
he had
about
9.
this.
I just saw he had 3 for 30 and thought, boy, he had 9.
I was talking with Skin yesterday about Devontae. It's like we were both hoping for a 12-catch, 219-yard game with 2 touchdowns.
Like
just to do kind of what Derrick Henry's been doing to this team all year.
It's not quite the same, but
mentally.
Amari Cooper had a pretty big day yesterday.
He had a really good day
for a guy who
true.
didn't know the playbook, so much so.
Well, that's true.
That one of the dudes Cooper was in the slot, and the guy on the outside, like Josh Allen changed the play at the line, and Amari's like, I don't have a clue what he's talking about. And very youth football style, the receiver on his side kind of like did the this way and that way.
Run a post.
And he ran it and scored.
Yeah.
He was open.
I always find so much pleasure when players that Jerry just undervalues or passes on do well on other teams. I love it.
God, Twitter was funny about that one because it was, I don't know, like a gif of Amari like running a route and having the pass hit you in the hands. It was like just worshiping him because he's come from Deshaun Watson to now Josh Allen.
That's correct. I mean, dude, he went to go from Cleveland to Baltimore at this stage of the game, or excuse me, to Buffalo. You're not going to get much luckier than that.
Yeah.
I'm with you, though. I would have liked to have seen a big day from Devontae, and maybe they'll figure it out, but they're screwed. Their season's done.
So if they want to turn around and trade Mike Williams, are you into that?
Sure. What's his contract? You know what? At this point, I don't really care. I just think I think the Cowboys have to do something on the offensive side of the ball, playmaker-wise, or they have no shot.
Because he's kind of the odd man out there.
He is. Man, he's pretty much. He signed a 1-year deal.
Okay.
It's just a matter of when the Jets realize they're screwed.
Well, at 2-5.
The only thing is, that division sucks. So they're not going to win it, but they still get to play the Patriots and Dolphins. I would say at least 2 or if not 3 or 4 more games for them. But who knows? All right. Well, we will talk about the scene in Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, and the fans and Jameis's comments afterward. We will do all that with Dan after the news. But Blake, it's your turn next.
Do you want to do read?
Yeah. I thought you'd be like, oh, yeah, viewer mail. It's brought to you by
Lone Star.
Oh,
there you go.
Man.
The official beer of Texas. Great with barbecue, great with anything, really. And what they're pushing right now is Lone Star merch, which is pretty badass. And according to Danny, made in Taiwan?
No, man. Right downtown Fort Worth, bro.
Okay.
Locally sourced. Real organic T-shirts for your comfort and fit.
Yeah, go to LoneStarBeer.com. Use the code DUMBZONE21 to get 21% off merchandise. Why 21?
Why?
Got to be 21 or older to purchase.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake.
You're welcome.
But look, let's be honest. Lone Star's obviously got the best merch game in the biz, but there's so much more than that. Have you tried their beer, Blake? Quite delicious.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a Red Can guy.
Yeah. I'm trying to watch my girlish figure because bikini season's coming up next year, so I'm kind of going with the blue can.
Well, I'm still working on my before pictures, so I'm just going to stay Red Can. But I've had some blue can. Very good. Lone Star Light, really, really good.
So good.
So authentically Texan Lone Star beer. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, wait a minute, Uncle Hotmail. Hey,
It's an interesting strategy to really, really puff up your before pictures.
Yeah. No,
So when you get in shape, it's like, look what I did. Yeah.
I love
Brilliant.
Not a ton here today.
Shout out to Prophets and Outlaws, by the way. Contact them for all your music needs.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they have good T-shirts too.
They do.
They had a kick-ass studio. I know that.
They definitely have that. We should go back out there soon.
This says, Dear Vulva Valedictorian.
All right. New leader.
Love it.
New leader.
My son Gary is celebrating his Columbine body count, minus Dylan and Eric's birthday. His leader is Puberty Blocker Blake. This is from Corey.
Boy, Blake or Jake's ferret head popped up when you said Columbine. Huh? What?
It was a big event in history.
Sorry, Rob.
To be honest with you, Columbine probably impacted my life more than 9/11. If we're just talking about actual brass tacks impact, I might even go so far as to say that Columbine was my 9/11. If you think about
Okay, wait. What year was Columbine?
2000?
Are you sure about that? Or was it
I thought it was was it before 9/11?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
sure.
of course it was. How old were you?
I was going to say 99.
24 years ago. You were
It was
15?
99.
Were you 15?
About to turn 15.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me because you were in school.
Yeah.
You probably had a bigger connection to that. I've talked to guys that are about your age, and their experience of remembering 9/11 was kind of like, huh. It was the same for me when the Challenger exploded, and I was a senior in high school when that went down, and I remember watching that going, huh.
Yeah.
It didn't impact me like it did people that were 3, 5, 10 years older than me.
Now, eventually, as just absolutely neoliberal douchebag as this sounds, I would say 9/11 is kind of why I went to college, because I got very interested in like, whoa, what happened here?
You're trying to avoid a potential draft.
Well, that honestly was in my mind, but also I just got really interested in learning about stupid stuff like politics all over the world.
Did you get a poli-sci
did.
degree?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
My master's is from the journalism department, but with a focus on political communication.
Wow.
I have 3 takeaways from 9/11 from my day.
Dude, that feels like it should be on cold pizza or hot coffee or something. And now Blake's 3 sizzling 9/11 takeaways.
If you don't know Blake, you might want to listen to these.
I remember having to go to the gas station because my dad was convinced there's going to be a run on gas.
God, what is it with you and your family and gas shortage freakouts?
I remember my football practice was canceled that day.
Yeah, it was
because
hot.
I think they were going to drive a plane into our youth football field.
Yep.
And then lastly...
Dude, typically people say fly a plane, but...
Yeah. And lastly, I was pissed because PBS did not show Arthur that afternoon.
Arthur, you were an Arthur guy. I think I was a little too old for Arthur.
And that was my afternoon jam when I got home from school.
When I ask friends who are pilots what they do, they say I drive planes.
I drove bus.
No, but 9/11 was wild at my school though, because as discussed, there were parents getting their kids out of school. I'm like, look, I haven't seen the Al Qaeda dossier, but I'm pretty sure Richland High School is not on page 1. In the event that this thing spirals.
Right. Or if there's an unidentified yet 4th plane.
Right.
Or 5th plane.
That's right. We've got the Richland campus locked on.
Yeah, you're probably safe. Yeah. Any Dallas community college is probably in good shape. Man, you guys are talking about the gas shortage. Man, Rob and I lived that thing in the 70s.
Yeah.
I remember my parents needing to get gas. And this is during the Carter administration, right? I think it was?
It was 79, I'm pretty sure.
That was
Yeah.
2 miles around, or a mile around the gas station. Just
we had odd
the
days
gas
and
lines are
even days. You
insane.
remember
Odds
that?
and evens. There you go.
Yeah.
Watering
You
your yard.
get gas on an odd or even day.
That's right.
My mom would get up at like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. and go to the gas station.
And probably not get home until after lunch.
Yeah. She was gone at least 2-3 hours.
You know what rules is that now, like 45 years later, the only thing you see lines like that for is if an In-N-Out or like a Portillo's opens.
No,
like just
kidding.
beef. The only thing, like
Yeah.
Or a Jollibee or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, anyways, Columbine. Back to you, Blake.
Dear Uncle Twat Tantalizer.
It's a strong day
Not
right
bad.
here, folks.
Not bad.
Today is my Michael Jordan with the Birmingham Barons birthday. I was not woken up in that special way, but I took care of myself already.
Gross.
My leaders are Jake Scorpion Toe and any guest that isn't Sarah Heppola. Day 2 DF 1193 Scott's Murphy.
Yeah.
Isn't she scheduled to come back soon? I think I saw her on the calendar.
Yeah, we're
She's
gonna get her
been
in.
canceled. That's it, boys.
That's good stuff, Blake. Now, with more on Columbine, here's Jake.
That was a wild day too because I remember. Let's see. Some of these events kind of run together for me, but I do remember it was definitely like we didn't really know what lockdown was at the time, but every school was on high alert. Like, yeah, I'm sure these 16-year-old kids who were playing Doom every day had coordinated an entire network of sleeper cells around the nation. But it was a thing that we knew about at school that it had happened. It's not like we got home and found out. And from there, yes, things changed drastically. Of course, one of the things that people my age experienced right away were we had to start wearing IDs. No matter what.
Why?
So they could identify your body.
Jesus.
That's why?
They didn't tell you that, but I pretty quickly figured out why. Okay, why? Well, they don't want people coming in who shouldn't be here.
Yeah, that wasn't the case at Columbine.
Yeah, right? Like, so that's exactly. You could have an ID. If you could get a gun in, you could get a gun in.
Yeah,
So-
think about it. In World War II in Vietnam, you didn't wear dog tags so you could remember your blood type.
Right. Yeah.
And there was a reason there were 2 of them.
And I'm sure there's that may be a little bit of an extreme take on that, but I do believe that's part of it.
They were multi-purposed, and that was one of the purposes.
Yeah, and they would get all over your ass for that. That was, you're going to ISS for the rest of the day, or you got to buy another one, and they would charge you $20 or something for them. No kids just walking around with $20. So that was a big, and I chronically misplace and lose things. These guys know that. And it started way before any sort of earth-based or grain-based substance. I just lose shit. I don't know. The ID was always a problem for me. But probably the story I've told more than any other was when and we're trying to fill time right now, by the way, but this is a good story. Just wait. When I went from football to basketball the first year that I did both and we had IDs, basketball was in the morning and I was used to football in the afternoon. And some kids in football in the afternoon, they wouldn't shower after practice. They would just go home. I would shower every time. I'm like, what? It's disgusting. Like,
you put your street clothes back on after that?
Some people would.
Stinking?
And they would just either, their parents would get them then, or they would take the bus, or if they were old enough to drive, they would drive. I would shower and put on like gym clothes every day. And we would dick around in the shower. You know, it was
I bet.
It was one of those, it was just a long open shower with either 4 or 5 poles that each had 4 or 6 heads on them. And they were spaced out, and so there were 2 rows of them, and we would just dick around to like an insane degree. And we would soap up the whole like midway of it and just get a slight running start from one end and then just slide on your ass the whole way to the other end.
Teenager naked slip and slide.
Naked slip and slide. And, the whole time there's like 10 other dudes in there at their shower. So you're just flying by like waist level.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Spinning.
Yeah. So we were just animals. And then when basketball season started, a couple of us, most of the kids who played basketball didn't play football. And so when we went over there, we realized, hey, these dudes don't like shower naked. They were way, way more uptight about it. And it was in the morning. And they would shower in gym shorts if they showered at all. Some of them would just wash their hair and style it, pop out the LA looks. But if anybody showered, they would shower with their shorts on. They didn't get naked. This is 9th or 10th grade.
Did you ever ask anybody what the purpose?
No, what I did was immediately get naked.
And?
As one or two people who did that.
Did you inspire change?
No, I just tried to creep everyone out. And one way that I did that was I would shower naked and hang my ID on my dick, and I would walk around and be like, is anybody – they're going to suspend me. Has anyone seen my ID? Is it over there like they don't even want to be naked? And I've got a lanyard –
hanging off your ween.
Yeah.
And then you start helicoptering
it. Was a different time. It was a different time. I think you'd probably get some sort of like sexual charge for that now. There's no way that somebody could have looked at what I had going on and been like, I'm being hazed. I don't think anybody felt threatened. But yeah, that's what I did with my ID. All right, we'll step away for a minute for those on the live stream, and when we continue, we'll be joined by Big Mac himself.
The Dumb Zone.
This week you've come really, really, really close. I mean, are you more glass half full coming off this loss, or are you still kind of feeling that same way?
No, the glass is always full because just because it's might be full, half full of water, it's still full with air.
Nope, 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 nope. Puppet.
Thank you, Jameis. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Sarah. In a minute, we're going to be joined by Dan McDowell. He's in Cleveland. But first, we're going to tell you about one of our fine sponsors here, one that Blake is very familiar with, and one that I'm about to become very familiar with. That is Ownwell.
Oh, yeah? Taking the plunge?
Oh, yeah. You know why? There's no reason not to. Ownwell's going to help you save money on your property taxes, and if they can't, you won't pay them. 86% of people will save money on their property taxes. They will have a reduced bill, and if you're part of that 14%, you don't pay anything. Blake, however, was part of that 86%.
Oh, yeah. They saved me a little bit of money. Sign up takes 3 minutes. It's very low risk, high reward. If you're thinking about doing it on your own, don't. Don't waste your time. Let the experts do it. 86% of people in the Metroplex save money. You can too. And yeah, why not do it? It's property time in Texas.
I got my notice yesterday.
Oh, they're coming in the mail right now.
Taxes,
sure.
And
you got until Jan 31.
Higher than last year.
Yeah.
It's only going one way, Danny.
I'm doing this too. You said it's 3 minutes to register and
put a timer on it.
Get in there. Really?
Put a timer on it. Now you may be thinking,
I got 3 minutes. You know what I don't have time for? Getting all of the whatever it's called documents and DCAD or whatever that website is to get comparable properties in your neighborhood.
Don't need it.
And wait in line on a phone call to talk to some dude that's going to save you zero money.
Got to pretend like you're Mr. Smith goes to Washington and you're standing there in front of some government body. That's not for you. You need one website, Danny.
What is it, Jake?
Ownwell.com/partners/thedumbzone. All right? That's what you do.
Tonight.
You save money. Hundreds of dollars on average. You can do anything you want with that money.
Connect with Ownwell tonight. Ownwell. What's up?
Oh, y'all are waiting on this, aren't you?
I think it was worth it. All right, let's go now live to Cleveland. We hope. What's up, dude?
Look at him.
Pick up the energy, boys. Come on. Let's go.
We're
going to do a 2-minute spot. Let's make them a little more exciting.
Look, we have the same energy as a man who decided to not make his bed today.
Oh, yeah. What is that? Don't you listen to Jordan?
Who makes their bed?
Don't you listen to Jordan
I'll just be
Peterson?
getting in it tonight.
Come on, man. That's so unlike you.
I just had a romp. I had a romp in there.
You haven't had a romp in maybe ever, but definitely not.
Dude, I'm romping.
Definitely not in 30 years.
Romping with the left hand. It's all great. All fun here.
I'm disappointed to learn you don't
reporting
make
live
up your
from
bed.
Cleveland, Ohio. Excuse me?
I'm disappointed to learn you don't make your bed. Like you just,
okay.
you seem
Oh,
like that
wow.
type of guy.
That bothers me. Huh?
You just seem like that type of guy.
Do I?
Yeah.
No one goes in your bedroom.
I know
No reason to make the bed at all.
I completely agree.
It was
that-
always one of the most illogical rules that your parents had growing up. Make sure you make your bed. Who's going to go in there except for me again later, and then mess it up?
You should set your
And don't give me
standards
your
high.
Marine crap. Oh man, I bet you. At least I did that. Like, okay, whatever, Marine.
Marine.
Jarhead.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah. Go back to where?
Vietnam.
I don't know where you came from.
Well, what's going on in Clee?
I'm reporting live from a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. This is Westlake, Ohio. As you know, I'm back.
Yes.
So actually, let me. I have a huge game report for you, but first, let me just give you an update on my hotel. So
Okay.
I told you on Friday, the location of the hotel was very close to a very famous landmark here in the Northeast Ohio area. However, it was unfortunate. I didn't get to choose my room, and I was looking the opposite way. I think I was looking over like some kind of a fish restaurant or something. So, which is nice. But it wasn't the fish I was looking for. So last night I got in my room. Rob, we can fire up this video. I actually, this is when I checked back in because I left for a day to go. My buddy Joe's slept over his house Saturday night.
It is a nice room.
It is a nice room, yeah.
Look
Hey,
at the
thanks.
beds.
Double
There's-
queens. I like
they're
two
made.
queens.
Oh yeah,
I like two queens over a king nowadays.
100%. You know
Yes,
what you know what I do with that? Or yeah, just why don't you walk us through first? I see it right there, baby, a beacon.
Okay, we walk over to the picture window. What do you call that? A bay window.
Not a bay.
And now we are looking at the majesty of not only the Cheesecake Factory,
but the parking lot,
which we love. But yeah, let's focus on the parking lot of the Cheesecake Factory. And it's not just limited, if you remember being there right behind the cheese. It actually extends out. So like, where was Baker and Baker Head Girl? Were they over here by the trees? Were they, up close to the Crocker Road? Who knows? Were they, right behind the Cheesecake Factory so that the back of her ponytail could be illuminated by that red, orangish glow?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe they were even feeling some electrons from the Cheesecake Factory and it flowing right through her, and then his electrons went
flowed
back.
through her.
Yeah, and then the vape situation.
Sure.
We remember everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my room is now over. It's the most scenic, the most coveted scenic room. It's the highest floor, high atop the 6th floor of this hotel, overlooking the Cheesecake Factory parking lot. So if he's out there or somebody's out there tonight, I'll be watching. I'm scoping it out. I'm like Rear Window. That's not a good reference. I'm like someone on The Wire. I'm like Bunk on a stakeout.
Okay.
Did Bunk ever do a stakeout?
I'm interested in the go back to the same hotel. Is that? I mean, I guess if you know they have yogurt, why mess with perfection? But I think I like to mix it up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know it's a good hotel.
Yeah.
It's close to where my mom lives.
Yeah, the two queens is definitely the move. I don't know if I had started doing this before I learned this from Sam Anderson and the Quaker City Nighthawks, or if I just started. I eat on that bed. I'll have a food bed.
Oh, okay. Mine is more of a. That's where I lay my clothes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like to have a bed over there that I'll
Got
go.
the dirty clothes pile, the clean clothes
If
pile.
I order a pizza and remember to get it when I'm at a hotel, I'll eat over there because a lot of times there's
Well,
not
New
really,
Jake should remember that.
there's not really anywhere to eat in most hotel rooms. You know, they might have like the little desk, but it's I don't know, I like to just lounge and watch TV and eat, and then be like, well, now I'm just going to go to the place where I actually sleep because it doesn't have tomato sauce everywhere.
I was
now,
thinking of you
when the maid
eating
comes
yesterday.
in, they think that I'm having like, probably.
Bloody, yeah, bloody bung.
Yeah.
You don't want bloody bung in a hotel. Yeah.
Out of state Dan.
Guy from experience, you do not want bloody bung in a hotel.
I'm surprised that you, being a tallish man like myself, wouldn't opt for the king, the single king, because I love a king-size bed alone. It's the best.
I used to, but now I do like that extra bed just to throw shit on.
Sure. You thought of me yesterday.
That's the effing bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like to do a little effing in that bed and soil that bed up.
And
you had just said I did think of you yesterday, so I was trying to get you to continue your.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought of you yesterday eating, actually, because I know you love the car tray.
Oh, yeah.
And you love Taco Bell. So
Spotted.
I've recently become a real big fan of the Taco Bell black bean crunch wrap.
Yeah. Hey, this ain't your grandpa's Taco Bell, bud.
Do you eat that while you're on your skateboard with your Mountain Dew on the other hand?
Baja Blast.
So my buddy Joe lives on the other side of town, 40 minutes on the other side of Cleveland. This is 40 minutes on the west side of Cleveland. He lives on the affordable side of the Metroplex. Anyway, I ordered a couple of those babies, and I'm eating them while driving. And it's a little, messy. And I just thought Jake would never do. Would Jake, if he had this, hour and a half drive ahead of him, and it was getting to be dusk and all that kind of stuff, would he just park at Taco Bell, eat it, and then go? Or would he?
Without a doubt, yeah.
Would he live life to the fullest like I do?
No, and especially given the way you drive, I'm surprised that that's ever even an option. But I guess someone who drives aggressively is just living aggressively. I mean, you're
aggressive.
No, not aggressively. That's not maybe someone who drives.
I was driving with my knee.
Who's not conservative about it. I am. And the other thing too is Taco Bell. One of the things I really enjoy is their sauces. Big Fire guy, big Diablo guy. What I like to do is order the chips and cheese. Dump a bunch of Diablo in there, mix it up with the chip. Now I got like a smoky queso type thing. And I got to have that. You're not getting that while you're driving. You need a tray to take full advantage of the sauces.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're a professional eat driver like myself, you would never order nachos because they're not practical for.
Yeah, that's why I can order them and I sit in my car and eat them. And the best thing is when someone pulls up next to me and they're trying to eat and they got beans falling out the ass of the burrito. It's all over them. And they look over and they see me and they're like, oh, my God. It's like when we go to like Asia and see their public transit. We're like, how did they figure this out? They look at me and they're like, that guy's from the future.
Well, then why even go to the drive-thru? Why not just dine in?
No,
okay, so actually the drive-thru was 5 deep, so I went in. And I go up to order, and the kid goes, you can't order here. You can only go order at the kiosk.
Yeah, yep. I've run into that.
I'm like, what?
Blake ran into it on our road trip.
Since we renovated, we don't take money. I'm like, well, but they could take my credit card over there right at the window. What if we pretend that, so now I got into a big thing with this kid who walked me over to the kiosk, and I'm like, I know how to use a kiosk,
old man.
dude.
Tell me your grandpa.
Yeah, I know the concept. I can press buttons and stuff. I'm just saying you're standing literally 5 feet away from where she is. Like, you both have the register. You could just say, here's my order, and then we just handle it this way. And he's like, no, then he's like, and he's, he's 18.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just work here, man. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. I'm just saying why I'm debating with him about the CEO of Taco Bell's decision, months ago.
Yeah.
The one
to phase his job out entirely at some point.
Now
for
soft
landing.
For eat driving, Taco Bell wins over, say, like Bueno, because for me, you want one bite of the burrito, and then you just bite the corner off of the fire sauce and just squirt it directly in your mouth.
You'd be cockeyed by hot sauce?
100%. But with the Taco Bell, it's like you're doing
disgusting.
A shot of salsa.
I don't like that at all.
And the lids that going everywhere, and there's sauce on your dashboard. You don't want that. So, yeah, Taco Bell for driving while eating. I support you, Dan. And the Crunch Wrap is the way to go.
It's very, very good. They've stepped the game up. So what time did you get out there? What time were you in the Muni lot?
Okay, so had to go pick up a guy and then pick up a parking pass. As you know, I love my buddy Joe because he works with the Cavs, so we get free parking at the Cavs arena. So we had to go, all this stuff, and finally got there. We probably got there 2 hours before game time to the parking pass. Went and had a slice at Slice. You remember that?
Of course.
Is that where we went?
The same exact pizza place. Yeah.
With Joe.
Had a slice of pizza there. Enjoyed every second of that. That's where I took a picture, Blake. We didn't notice it before. They have a payphone in there. And we were marveling at the payphone. Like, does it work? Does anyone use this payphone? So we took some pictures of the payphone, like, because like now that's like a monument. That's like the Otto Graham statue in Cleveland. There's an actual payphone, and people come from all over just to see it. So we just kind of walked through the tailgating areas, but then didn't partake or anything because Joe was he was doing the media thing, so he wanted to get the pregame media meal, and I was invited by Sven. You know Sven, my 6'7" friend. He invited me into a suite, and if I'm going to go to a game,
yeah, we know
the suite. In fact, if anybody's tuning in today and anybody's like, "Oh, I'd love to invite the guys to a game sometime," I'm busy unless if you're like, "Hey, we have a suite."
Okay.
Oh, really? A suite? Like that's kind of the way God intended you to watch a game.
All right, let's find this limit though. Wings, Dallas Wings.
A Dallas Wings suite? There's no way they have that. Sure, I'll say yeah.
Well, Dan was a big Latricia Trammell fan, so now that they're parting ways,
they ran off their Roseanne.
Yeah,
they did.
So
you guys see they fired Roseanne?
Yeah, I did.
We just got to know her.
Yeah, I know, and I'm gonna have to reorganize this whole thing now because what if they hire someone for somewhere else?
Like
it's
it
insane.
could be anybody. Becky Hammond.
Okay.
So this suite, before I get to football, had a bathroom, like a private bathroom. So
that's
great.
there for one reason and one reason only.
Doing it?
Cocanya.
So when you walk in, there's a sink, and then there's a toilet next to it, right?
I'm with you.
It's a standard bathroom. Is there a mirror too?
So there's a mirror. Wow. But the mirror extends. It's not just behind the sink. It extends. It's the whole length of the bathroom, so behind the toilet. So I'm on the road, so I don't sit down on the road. I sit down at home, of course. So I'm standing, but now you're standing watching yourself and watching your wiener.
That's no good.
Go to the bathroom. And I'm like, this is too much mirror. You are wasting, first of all, valuable mirror money that you could just cut all these mirrors in half.
It's wrecking the economy.
Yeah, well, they've double paid for mirrors in this whole stadium. If they have a mirror behind every, suite toilet, you could have saved a lot of money on making this stadium and therefore less, PSL price and all that kind of stuff.
And if somebody's washing their hands and you're urinating, they can, with the double mirror, they can peer over and have instant access to your ween. Be able to see it.
One. There's no.
There shouldn't be two in there.
There's no two in there, yeah, unless it's a couple. Or good friends like me and Jake. We would go in there together. For sure. So anyway. Just a word to the people making the suites in Cleveland. I don't want to see myself doing that. And I'm like, gosh, that's small? Does it look that small to her? Like, gosh, I'm trying to work it up a little bit. So we go in the stadium, and my first game, I don't know if you guys ever do this, but I really like the obscure jersey game for whatever game I go to.
Sure.
I did this when we went to see the Cowboys in California, Blake. I don't know if you remember me asking you to check on jerseys.
I did.
But I came up with I saw a Joe Juravicius.
Wow.
That's a good
First
pull.
of all, would you be able to guess the top 3 jerseys at a Browns game here in 2024?
Baker.
3 jerseys. Baker is not one of the top 3. He might have cracked the top 5.
Chubb.
Okay, Chubb.
A lot of them make it.
Chubbies.
Chubb.
Yeah, okay, so Chubb. This would be
There's
really
2 real obvious ones.
Myles Garrett.
That's obvious one, number 2.
Bernie Kosar.
Nick Chubb is beloved, by the way. Here.
Yeah, no,
We love it. He wrote like a Players Tribune thing about how he never wants to leave Cleveland. Oh,
yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
That's he's all the rage. And then he came back this week. It was so.
The contrast of him and Watson had to be interesting.
Oh my
for
God. The third one, I think you'll never guess.
Okay, so is it Flacco?
No, he's somebody currently on the team.
Oh.
Let me hold on. Do we get
David Njoku.
Not Njoku.
Okay, hold
Although
on.
I have a picture of him. I don't know if you guys saw him walking into the game. And his outfit. Apparently, he does this every game. You can pull that up if you
I
want,
saw
Rob.
that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, David Njoku.
He looks like a
his
gay
bid is
cowboy.
Man, I just
Yeah, his bid is to. I guess he does this every game, and I just would think you need a little more. I don't know, maybe some all pros.
Is it Joel Batonio?
He looks like he's in the Village People.
Jameis.
Yeah. No.
Damn. Okay.
Well,
we lost Dan.
No. You still there, Dan?
I'm here.
Oh,
yeah, he's there.
Can't see him anymore. Okay, so who was it?
Denzel Ward. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can now.
Yep,
Really?
Yeah.
I guess
enough.
he's a first-round pick. He's been there for a minute, but I would have thought.
Yeah, he's multiple Pro Bowl guy, but
yeah, that is an interesting.
I wouldn't have thought that would have the third most seen jersey. Anyway,
the first
Joe
thing
Jurevicius,
I did was just find. I was just looking like, all right, is there a white that I'm missing? Like, they sold Peyton Hillis jerseys like they were hotcakes.
That's my next one on the obscure jersey game.
Yeah,
I saw 2 or 3 of those.
What about throwbacks?
They got your Jim Brown and your, couple of Bernies. But Colt McCoy.
Okay, interesting.
Like, who's buying a Colt McCoy?
A Colt McCoy Browns jersey. That's very strange.
Right. Someone bought that. Phil Dawson, which makes a little sense. He's from Lake Highlands.
Another Longhorn.
Long time Browns kicker. He was there for, 15, 20 years. So that kind of makes sense, but
still,
it's still the kicker.
I don't know. I mean,
it does make me think I need a Brandon Aubrey.
I was going to say, I think we could get away with a Brandon Aubrey, but other than that, and I would tell Brandon this, if you don't have him on your show or you're not related to him, you're probably kind of a loser if you buy a kicker's jersey.
Vinny Testaverde.
Sure.
Of course.
Which seemed pretty obscure. And then Joe Hayden.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had a run.
Yeah.
Did he?
Kinda.
Not according to Dan.
So pregame. This was apparently it is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction weekend.
I did see something about that on the television during football, a commercial for it.
So that was kind of the theme of the game. In fact, who was it? Oh, it was Denzel Ward made a big defensive play, broke up a pass, and then did a big his celebration is a big guitar, just swinging his arm around like he's playing the guitar. So I don't know if he does that every game or if
he's done it before.
Okay, maybe it's not special then to Rock and Roll.
But it's special to Cleveland. Like he's just tributing the Cleveland rock thing. Yeah,
is he?
I think so.
Which I'm totally on board with something new than barking and dogs.
Yeah,
because. In fact, just this weekend they announced they have approved they're moving the stadium to Brook Park, which is kind of near the airport. It's out of downtown. The stadium's been downtown, of course, since the 1930s or something like that.
That sucks.
And it does suck because it is actually good for business downtown. Now, who is it? Jimmy Haslam will go ahead and just build his own Texas Live, but we'll probably call it something different right around the stadium, and he'll make all the money, and you'll have to drive out to a suburb and all that kind of stuff. So,
but now they'll have paintball downtown, Jake.
It's always going to be available.
They will have waterfront development. I've been hearing it's a good thing, and they're going to have a dome, so they're going to get a Super Bowl, so that'll be great, right?
Oh, I cannot wait to listen to the media bitch about that. Yeah.
We'll love
Cleveland in February.
Good gravy.
But it was my point at the game to anybody that would listen to me was they need to retire the dog bit. Don't bring the dog pound to Brook Park. It shouldn't even be at this stadium. That was the late 1980s, early 90s Browns, which I was a big fan of. They started it. They started the barking. We threw milk bone. I brought milk bones to a game.
Of course.
I have actually carried milk bones to a game. I've thrown a bone on the field. That's who invented it. Nowadays, they like call it the dog pound, yet it's like the Wayne's World TV basement. It's like just corporate. It's like dog pound brought to you by, it's, I don't play that.
No.
So I just want to put that out there if anybody's.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I haven't really
Jimmy
checked
Haslam
in
is
on like
listening.
the Vegas situation with the Raiders. Do they still have crazy ass like Spike guy and all that? I don't know. I haven't really checked.
Yeah, I don't know.
You probably got to let the bit go.
So pregame, it's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame weekend. They have the national anthem being played by Ozzy Osbourne lead guitarist Zakk Wylde.
Hell yeah! Did he have the black and white like mesmerize guitar?
Like a bullseye guitar, black and white bullseye. Les Paul.
You guys are more familiar with him than me. He had a big ass wild looking guitar for sure.
No, you know how to spell Zakk Wylde.
It's got to have an E on the end of wild.
It does.
And a Y.
And a Y.
It's WYLDE.
Oh, and a Y.
You want to take a run at Zach?
Go ahead.
ZAKK.
He just couldn't commit to the third K.
No, it's implied.
I guess so.
It's implied. No.
It is because the first guitar I ever saw the guy play had a Confederate flag on it.
Not surprised. I had many Guitar Magazine Zakk Wylde covers pinned to my wall once upon a time. Dan.
He's in Pantera 2.0 now, right?
I think so, yeah. There it is.
I didn't send this to Rob.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Does anything say heavy metal more than that?
Ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
Jeez Louise.
Got a Browns jersey, though.
Yeah, here he is.
Okay. Stand corrected.
So then, apparently this is a thing they do every game, and from what I understand, they usually have an athlete do it.
Play
Like
a solo?
local- No.
Oh.
After the national anthem, they will usually have an athlete go, and they give them a guitar, and they go up and smash it on like the guitar smashing stage, and it gets the crowd in a frenzy.
Okay.
So this week,
I like these bits. What is like Arrowhead does something like this, and Atlanta
the
has
crowd goes
one.
nuts.
Like ring a bell, or you do this or that.
but
I
it's
like
usually
that.
somebody like a local sports guy,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
So they're like big and strong.
Mhm.
This week they had strung out Flava Flav.
Oh no! Well, first of all, I do believe he's a few years
Pull the video
sober,
up,
sir,
Rob.
But
We can describe the video. So
oh no!
he's
What's-
unable to break the guitar.
Yeah.
So
he
I
hasn't-
videoed this. This is in my suite. I'm taking a video of my.
All the fans are just waiting.
What is he on? Hit number 12 there?
Yeah. No, it's
Still not even
No,
denting it.
like the fret.
He's so tired now.
It's not even just that he didn't break it. Like it's all still intact. Like it's showing no damage.
I'm saying not even a dent.
There we go. The neck just snapped. Yeah, the
See,
strings
the
are
neck
holding
snapped,
it together.
but he
Okay.
never broke guitar proper.
That is all.
Like,
Everything
give
we're
the
about
guy-
to discuss is very Cleveland.
So Cleveland.
Give the guy, in Hollywood,
the
they have.
prop.
Right.
You can't break a chair over someone's head. You would actually just kill them.
You need a breakaway
The
guitar.
chair is, it's made of balsa wood or whatever, and they just, Same with a bottle. Don't hit your buddy over the head with a bottle thinking it's going to shatter like in Hollywood.
They'll die.
Yeah, you will just knock them out. The bottle will not break likely, and if it does, it'll just put a big, right into their neck.
Did anybody
So-
tell you how exactly they arrived upon Flava Flav?
I think he was there.
Was he being inducted for?
Oh, okay, maybe.
I don't know.
I feel like they.
I mean,
have
they
to
had,
be in
like-
by now.
Yeah, I
Like
think
the
they actually
halftime
are.
show was who was it? Oh my gosh, now I can't remember. Oh, Foreigner.
Nice.
My God.
Yeah,
I had a
and?
bunch of people in my suite that were fired up about Foreigner.
I bet you
And I was
did.
like, Jesus, really?
They got a couple
Like, they're all, I
bangers.
gotta go watch Foreigner. Like, you gotta go watch Foreigner.
Hot blooded.
Yeah, that's about all they did. They did Hot Blooded, and then they did another version of Hot Blooded.
Oh man.
Yeah, you guys just
Double
named the whole medley that they did.
I don't know. I think I've messed with Foreigner.
I've
a
seen
little
Foreigner
bit.
in concert.
And I don't. Are they from Cleveland? Because I've just kind of always assumed that they were from somewhere like Cleveland.
See, I don't think so. But again, it's Hall of Fame induction weekend. But if you were there,
Yeah.
it might have under their name 2018 inductee. It didn't mean that they were being inducted this weekend. It just meant they were somehow tangentially related to rock and roll. Yeah. Like Flava Flav, Rock Hall? Okay.
Yeah, they've expanded it.
Yeah, Foreigner, New York City is what I'm seeing.
Ah, that's right. Where nothing is given.
Player intros. I was very interested in how everything would be received. Number one, because they were introducing the offense. And I thought, oh, this is wild because this is before the game, all the talk leading up to it. So I had been here a few days already. I've been hanging around with a lot of people. And the number one topic was Deshaun Watson.
How could it not be?
And how effed we are, and how I was against it from the beginning, and all the everybody has their own story of why they hate Deshaun Watson. I was trying to find anyone, like I was thinking this of all. Think of all sports, any local team's athlete. Could there be a more hated guy or girl? Angel Reese, I'll put you out there.
No, it would be really tough. It would have to be, because even though like sex addiction is a thing, it's even shakier and definitely more stigmatized than substance. So it's not even really like he said, hey, I have a problem. Like if you kill someone in a drunk driving accident and you're an alcoholic, then people eventually probably are going to say, hey, this guy had a problem, and he's going to do his time, but but you can't really do that for what he did.
Well, the main thing is he sucked.
I was going to say, then you make matters worse by being really, really terrible.
That is the main thing. And of course, it's that you had to trade everything and pay everything. So it's not like even the Panthers, who traded everything, but then they got a guy they didn't have to pay him anything. If Bryce Young sucks,
yeah,
you'll move on and you'll get another one in 3 years, and really that didn't affect the bottom line, and it didn't affect the rest of your team.
Yeah, I mean,
but this affects the rest of your team.
It's not just the worst trade in the history of the NFL. Let's give it a little time, but I think it's going to go down as the worst trade in the history of pro sports.
Because Russell Wilson had something to say about that. That was a pretty bad trade Denver had to make. They overpaid, right away. That was a bad bid as well. But they were able to just kind of release him, and they still have a viable football team.
Yes. And it didn't come with all the baggage of, we're going to make you watch this guy that has no contrition at all for all these. The whole thing. It's got every single part of it. The only thing missing is something related to an underage person. That's about the only way the Deshaun Watson story could possibly be worse.
Are fans more upset with Deshaun the man or the organization and ownership, because it's not like there weren't red flags all over the place on all fronts to begin with?
Yeah, but his daughter said it was cool.
No, it's compounded by
the fact that he sucks.
People kind of liked Baker.
Yep.
And Baker brought them to the playoffs for only the second time since they've been back. And then he won the only playoff game in Browns history since 1999 when they came back. Like, that's their only playoff win. The next year, he did get hurt. He did fight through it and play all year. And he wasn't as good. And that was the year that they started, publicly exploring trade options for Deshaun Watson. And then Deshaun Watson took them off the list. Well, by that time, now you had pissed off Baker, and you had thought, well, we can't go with Baker, so we have to just, throw everything at Deshaun Watson to get him here, give up Baker for nothing, basically. And now you're watching Baker dominate, or at least play very, very well elsewhere. And you could have Baker Mayfield. You could have Joe Flacco, who was here last year, and he's still a viable. And they couldn't keep Joe Flacco. So most people are mad at the ownership if they really look into it a little bit, because they gave, before this season started in the offseason, after what had been going on last year, they gave Andrew Berry, their GM, and head coach Kevin Stefanski extensions.
Ooh, I did not know that.
So if Andrew Berry was the one who said, hey, Jimmy Haslam, I'm willing to put my job on the line for this. We got to make this trade. We got to pay him all the money. I truly believe in this. If he was the one who said that this past off season, he would have been fired. But if Jimmy Haslam was the one that said, look, do this. I got to have this. Look, I'm the owner. A couple times I'm going to make the call. This time I'm making the call. Then he would say, man, I feel bad that I've put the whole team in this. I'm going to have to, I will give you an extension. And Kevin Stefanski, since you're the good soldier who every week goes up to that podium saying, you know what?
He's our quarterback.
I know he might be 520th out of 530 quarterbacks eligible for this terrible stat in since the year 2000, but he's really the best chance we have to win. That's why they had to get rid of Flacco, because they couldn't have just the controversy of him just sitting there. And that's why this week before the game, they actually demoted Jameis to third string, because the screams were getting louder and louder for Jameis Winston to get in there if Deshaun Watson is going to look this bad. Well, they just made him the third stringer. The excuse was, well, he had a bad week of practice. Okay.
Yeah.
How much practice, how many reps are the second and third stringers getting against each, So they brought in, Dorian Thompson,
Robinson,
DTR. Yeah. So, and then lo and behold, of course,
he gets hurt.
The Achilles happens, and then they actually have to go to DTR right before halftime.
And briefly, Jameis, right? Yeah.
Oh, later. So DTR gets injured on a interception, and they might have said, "Look, that's your interception finger that you hurt there. Now we're going to have Jameis come in, because they can only use Jameis if it's a second injury." So they brought in Jameis, and it was really funny because by that time I'm in the car, and we're driving home listening to the game. By the way, at a Browns game now, and you saw this, if you want to beat the traffic, you have to leave in the second quarter, because we left in the third quarter, and it was like a mob. It was like half the stadium was leaving. When we left.
That was a part of when you got back, and you were like, I didn't think you left games early. Like, you left pretty early, and I'm like, man, we looked around 7 minutes ago in the half, and it was half full, and I'm like, well, we need to go now. That game was I didn't watch much of it, but obviously saw all the things of the storylines. But also, if your game opens with getting a kickoff returned by a white for a touchdown against you, you're completely screwed.
Dude, you knew the day was really bad. Yes, some white guy.
Yeah.
That's my notes. I have my notes right here. Some white guy returns opening kickoff 100 yards.
You cannot give up a return touchdown to a white on the opening kick and expect good things after that. It's just Browns. It was all just very, very Browns. And then
driving.
I was just going to say. The booing.
Hold on. Okay. So driving home, I just wanted to just wrap that up. The radio announcers. Did you know Andrew Siciliano is their main play-by-play guy now on radio?
Did not.
He's from Cleveland. The guy with the big ears.
Oh, yeah.
From the NFL Network.
Yep.
He's from Cleveland, and I guess Jim Donovan, their longtime play-by-play guy, got cancer or something, and so he's out, and then Siciliano has taken over. But he and his color guy were just kind of like, whoa, it's really something to see someone back there with confidence just step into a throat. Like, they were ripping, second level, whatever, subtweeting, Deshaun Watson and DTR, I guess, as like they were talking about Jameis as if Tom Brady just came in his prime. They just couldn't believe how great it was to see Jameis on the field of play.
That's interesting. I mean, we've seen from Homer Call how different it is across the league, right? I mean, the one that obviously jumps to mind is the Patriots crew.
Very entitled.
Outwardly hated Cam Newton. Whereas, Brad and Babe would, Zeke for a 3-yard run, and they're like, oh, I thought he was washed up. Here he is walking the dog. It's like, it's just very, very different, but that's funny that the Browns get that latitude. So did you boo?
We need to find some Brad and Babe stuff from game one.
Oh.
and compare it to like the Lions game.
That's not a bad idea.
Anyway, so yes, player announcements. They do the offense. Deshaun gets roundly. It was amazing.
That's so
like
weird.
really loud A-Rod back in Seattle type boos during player announcements
At home for his team.
before
like,
the game started.
It's not like
They're
it's
1-5.
It's not Stephon Diggs going back to Buffalo or something, you know?
No. It's not a guy going back.
It's his team.
It's a guy who currently plays there and who is signed up for the next 5 years and so locked in that like they can't release him. Although
there's ways
they should just release him. But anyway, they've got the best thing that could have happened to them, in my opinion, right now. But they didn't end with Watson, the boos, and then they end with Nick Chubb.
Of course. They know how to stack
the
this
place
show.
went nuts.
Yeah.
The place went nuts. And, you know, they did get down near the goal line, and the whole place is chanting Chubb. It was awesome. As awesome as you could get for a 1-5 of an atmosphere you can get.
So then the injury.
So, and then in the beginning of the game, though, before they get to the injury even.
He was pretty awesome.
Huh?
Jameis was kind of, or excuse me, I keep saying Jameis, but Deshaun was actually not bad.
He was not pretty awesome. Go take a look at the numbers. In fact, every play that would happen, the TV, at least, that I was looking at in the suite, you know, I'd sit outside for a little bit, but then there's a couch and it's air conditioned. Why would I not sit in that suite? You know, I don't want to waste money by having that couch in there and having nobody sit on it. They kept showing on the screen, they would show the completion that he had, like 4 yards down the field, and then they would show a guy like the wide open guy that was 15 yards down, like every single play.
Okay, it was one of those.
And if he threw 20 yards down the field into double coverage, they would show the underneath route that was 12 yards down the field, this guy running wide open. Like every play, he made the wrong move. Did you guys talk about that article yet?
No, I was waiting on you.
The Bill Barnwell article?
No, I've read it.
And I saw Bill Barnwell article highlighted some of the problems with Deshaun Watson are not just his completion percentage, which is terrible, and his decision-making, which is terrible, all that, but it's the sacks that he takes. And he took a couple of sacks just like that. When you could have got rid of the ball, you could have sidestepped, you could have got away. Like, he's just like, it's almost like he didn't care at all. Like, well, I'll just take the sack here. I will still be paid $3 million for this game only. You know, whatever it is. Like, it's insane. Okay, now we get to the injury. And it's to me, it was as mild of a happy response by the crowd as it could have been. After the whole game, they're booing the guy. Player intros started booing him. All the talk leading up to it is we can't believe we still have to look at this guy. Why aren't they benching this guy? So it was all about how bad he is. And then he finally gets injured. And there was actually some polite applause on him leaving the field and like, hey, and we're going to act like we're just really classy here. But so predictable that every, player. Oh, in fact, I heard one of the so Tony Grossi is a sports writer, longtime writer in Cleveland. You may have heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
Was on a sports station. I was listening to that on the way to the game. And he was talking about how and he's there like he's like their David Moore. So he's at everything, every press conference. He's in the locker room at every media availability. He's at training camp. Every day that you can be there, he's there. He said, as this year goes, he has never seen Deshaun Watson talking to another player in the locker room.
I believe that.
Like he just lives in his own little bubble there. He never interacts with anybody. He is not friendly with the play. Like there's nobody like that's got his back type thing. On the sideline, same thing. If you ever watch a game, nobody's like going up after an interception or a tough drive or something and hitting him on the shoulder saying, hey man, keep your head up. Let's go. Or what, he's not walking up and down, like talking to wide receivers or like pumping up the linemen. He's sitting by himself. Okay, so heading into this game, he was already public enemy number one, hated seemingly by his team and by the fans. So then he gets injured, and it's clear that he's being carted off, and he won't be coming back this year. I thought the stadium could have started the wave right then. Like they could have hit celebration on the scoreboard or fireworks or whatever they do after a big thing, and they didn't. Yet the players, if you would listen to Jameis in his post game and listen to some of the other guys, have to do the bit of it's just disgusting. It just sickens me that the crowd would cheer and all. Look, I was in Philly the day that Michael Irvin's career ended, and they were cheering that he got his neck injured and was carted off. That's what fans do, and it's always just it's never 100% of the fans, you know. So I don't know. I didn't think it was an egregious reaction at all.
Yeah, the players do have to play
everybody
the
was
part.
thinking, this is great. This is great. Because now they just – and I bet Stefanski's thinking, now I can just play another quarterback because that's what I've wanted to do. Hell, Jimmy Haslam is probably like, this is great because I might be able to recoup some of the salary just on insurance money. Like, it'll still count against the cap, but at least it won't be out of my pocket. So I think everybody – and hell, maybe Deshaun Watson is happy too.
I was going to say that. I bet he is.
Like, I don't have to go back and I think that's the last snap he'll ever take in the NFL.
I said that to Danny before we started today. I don't think it. I think that's it.
Why would he come? Why is he going to work really hard to rehab? To come back and be hated? He gets the money either way.
Yeah.
Well, hell, wherever he lands.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if he were somehow to work it out where, I don't know, he retired and then became somehow later a free agent. I don't know how the money works in that, but if he ever ended up on another team, what market is going to just open arms, embrace, and be excited about him being their quarterback? He's probably done. You're right.
Yeah, I
agree with you.
I think that's it. And
who would sign him as their starter?
100%.
You know?
And where would he go where he wasn't going to be a starter?
Yeah, and
the only deal he could get is like a Russell Wilson just signed for like 1 year, $1 million with the Steelers because he's still getting paid by Denver.
Yeah, but he also wasn't coming off an Achilles. It would be hard to get another starting job in another city if you tore your Achilles and were fully locked in. But he's Deshaun Watson. I don't know, man. It's a fascinating story because of course it's the Cowboys and the Browns are probably the top two teams, and when things happen to them, you're like, yeah, well, that's the Cowboys or that's the Browns. Like, it just seems like that everything that ends up being a crazy story about either one of those organizations, it makes total sense. Of course that happened to the Browns. Of course.
How about these big games I go to in Cleveland?
We were talking about it, man. Mason Rudolph.
I was there for Mason Rudolph, helmet, getting hit with his own helmet. Or was that Miles? Yeah. Myles Garrett ripped his helmet off, right? And swung it at him.
Yeah.
Got suspended for the rest of the year.
They're not I doubt they go to Jameis either, which is going to suck because I like having Jameis play every week.
I don't know.
Well, you know,
they can easily say he had a good week of practice.
Yeah, but they don't really want to win.
Well, I wonder, that's another good point. I was reading.
Now that they're 1-6,
yeah.
Do they have their own draft pick next year finally?
They do.
Okay.
I was reading this earlier, and I was curious, Dan, if you, in some of the chatter around, native Cleveland fans up there, there was word that possibly they were considering trading Jameis by making him the emergency quarterback that day. But now it seems like you really can't do that because at least if you're not going to start him, you need a backup, right? Did you hear any of that? That the reason that they demoted him down to not practice, but emergency QB yesterday was because there was talk about them potentially trying to trade him?
There is an article here on
like
a Cleveland
website.
It says they would look at
what I heard was this is just chatter that it was because
he had a bad week in practice.
The cries to have him be put in the game. They didn't even want that to be an option.
But now,
so Stefanski had to demote him the third string because you wouldn't be yelling to put DTR in.
Because now you're faced with
yelling to put anybody.
Faced with the option of starting him, and then hey, you might win 2 or 3, maybe 4 games this season, or back him up to the guy with 2 last names, and then you can just Tank-a-thon, baby.
So I was telling these guys.
Here's
go ahead, Dan.
Here's the big concern, Browns fan concern, because like you said, the Cowboys are going to Cowboys and the Browns are going to Browns. And now the Cowboysing is better because you can get to the playoffs and then you look like the fool. The Browns could never get it just going at all. Their concern is that they're going to get the number 1 pick and draft Shedeur Sanders.
That's what I was about to say to you. I brought it up to these guys before we started. I'm like, man, for Dan, for all of it, I need the Browns to end up in a position to draft Shedeur Sanders. But if you recall, Prime has already made his opinions about this known when he was asked about it. Of like, hey, this is a new day. Like, he was asked about Travis Hunter and he was asked about Shedeur, and he's like, they're not just going to go anywhere. We're not interested in that. So they could end up in a position to draft him and just be told, no, I'm not going to Cleveland. Like, it's just not happening. So then they have to take Quinn.
I'll tell you, man. You think Quinn Ewers' body is big enough?
He's a big dude, man.
Is he?
Well, I mean, he's 6'2", 200.
Okay, I don't know. I guess
he's not
around
huge,
all those linemen. He just didn't look.
Well, I'm not saying I think the guy's going to be
obviously
great.
yesterday or Saturday you weren't thinking.
Yeah, I'm just saying right now he's going to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks taken in the draft.
I watched every snap Saturday that I could when we were switching over from the Indians game.
Oh, sorry.
I'll call them the Indians.
Yep. Yeah,
it's all right. Those upstart Yankees.
Well, at least we could still count on our plucky underdogs from the National League to.
That was the funny thing about the Mets. Oh, what a miracle season!
The third highest payroll in baseball or something. Yeah,
it's like no, the highest. They're like at 300 million.
I just knew the top 3 were those 3 teams, and then the old Gardiac kids at 25.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious if they ruined Shedeur Sanders. That would be awesome. It would be even more awesome if it meant that Dion became the coach, which I don't think is crazy.
Dude, that'd be great.
Dan
I want it. Yeah, I want it all.
Dan would legitimately soil himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they could make Tiger life coach or something and make Mike Tyson strength and conditioning and bring back Bill Belichick as defensive coordinator.
Michael Irvin, receivers coach.
Michael, yeah. This is perfect.
I want life coaching advice from Tiger Woods.
Yeah, well, he's been through a lot. That's usually how it works. Okay, are we going to stick around?
If you'll have me.
Aw.
I mean, I have to make my bed. That's about all I got to do left today.
All right, what's next, Blake?
Well, the news is brought to you today by Elite Rides DFW.
Ooh, our good friends at Elite Rides DFW.
Your premier transportation solution. And you looked pretty sweet hopping out of one of their vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very convenient. You can go to, or you just call 1-844-RIDE-DFW. Dan and I got a ride to work from Elite Rides DFW. And I was thinking about this really over the past couple weeks with Cowboy home game, but then with Texas OU a couple weeks ago. You gotta get yourself a ride like Elite Rides DFW. They've got they got a Sprinter, they got a big decked out Suburban, they got the Tesla. They'll just make it easy for you. Heck, the guy told us that day he was taking a trip to Galveston to drive a family back up in the Sprinter because it was more affordable. In general, Elite Rides DFW has proven to be cheaper than your other rideshare services. And it's you know what it is? It's elite. It really is.
You should check out EliteRides-DFW.com. Promo code is DZ15. You get 15% off your first ride when you book via the website or their phone, 844-RIDE-DFW. Definitely try it out. 844-RIDE-DFW.
There you go.
Or EliteRides-DFW.com.
Here's Jake with the Dumb Zone News.
All right, well, it was a big weekend for news, and a lot of that's going to come to us from the world of the politic. But we're going to start with a couple of other local-ish stories here. The 2024 State Fair of Texas has officially come to a close. 2.4 million folks attended the State Fair. That is a record.
And 1 out of 4 of those ate a corn dog.
On average, yes, that's correct. But when I go to the State Fair, I'm eating for, I guess, what would be, I eat 3. I'm a 3 corn dog guy.
3?
Yeah.
Well, per visit?
All at the same time?
Yeah, I just slammed 3 huge corn dogs in my mouth.
You look like that guy in the Guinness book with like 300 cigarettes in his mouth.
We used to call that the harmonica.
Yeah, the cigarette harmonica.
But he would get like a dozen cigarettes, just smoke down the line. He was
You ever get scared
Arlo
on the Ferris
Guthrie
wheel?
or something. Yeah. I did the one at Disneyland recently, and it freaked me out a little bit. But we made sure to get into one of the ones. They were every other, and every other one of them didn't rock. And my daughter was not about to get in one of the ones that rocked, and I was like, "Yeah, are you sure, babe? I'd totally do that." And
Yeah, and you're thinking, yeah, dude, I don't want to.
yeah,
It's too scary up there. Yeah, it's real high.
it is very high. I'm less scared by that than I am big roller coaster though, or fair roller coaster for that matter. You know, somebody with chlamydia and crank in their systems just out there on.
Well, I don't like anything that has just been erected, except for my wiener. I love that, but you know the
Just have to wait for it.
if you just have to build the roller coaster, bad bit.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get on.
Here's a funny figure, Jake and Dan, Blake. 400,000 prizes were won at the Midway, totaling an estimated value of $1.4 million.
Yeah.
So,
average prize.
Street math says that's about a $3 prize.
Yeah.
That you're spending God knows how much profit they make off of those things.
Well, a big part, it's a roughly $3 prize that they had made by the Uyghurs in a sweatshop of a isolated area of China in a prison camp for 1 cent.
Think about the little kid that wins some stuffy at the fair and goes home and sleeps with it in their bed that night. Number one, it's the most cheaply made piece of crap, and God knows what harmful chemicals are just embedded into the outer covering of that.
That's how they got COVID
And
over here.
It was handed to you by Chlamydia Man.
Yep.
So there's probably traces of VD and crack in the fur.
Yep.
And it's been sitting out at the state fair for a
Yep.
month.
I saw an ad for a politician that's actually they're putting fentanyl in the prices now.
Okay.
That's what they meant by rainbow colored.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, political ads up here are out of control.
Be swing state, brother.
Not just up there.
Well, up there it's a bigger deal. Here, we know
I
who's
mean-
winning everything here.
Yeah, but every commercial during Texas, Georgia was that.
They're ramping up, baby. We're just, a couple weeks away.
I'm going to vote today, Dan.
It's all about chicks with dicks.
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, no,
It's
that's
all about
that's every Ted Cruz ad is that. Like he just doesn't have a whole lot else to hit you with.
like they don't have anything that's like of substance. It seems
Right.
It's just all about and it's pictures of dudes with makeup on. It's really funny.
Did anybody
But
catch
it's,
the debate between him and Allred, I guess?
Yeah, I
I
watched
watched
it.
a little bit of it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, Ted Cruz.
He thinks January 6th is hilarious.
Yeah, he's just laughing
Hilarious.
the whole time.
The whole time, yeah. Anytime Colin Allred would bring up Jan 6, he just over there just laughing.
It's untouchable.
So funny.
So shout out to the State Fair. There was a big fight last night I saw on Dallas, Texas TV, so we could close things out. That's solid. Last night, we got it up here now. It appears to be people getting food, and we just have two broads. I love when broads fight because of the hair grab. It's basically like a built-in hockey jersey. Like for the hockey jersey fight, you can just grab by it.
People just
And you're generally going to just let them fight it out, right?
Yeah, very, very seldom do you see the
I'm not
fight really
giving on
broken
that.
up. Like that guy's kind of there, but he's like, I'd really prefer if this keeps going on. They're always they're usually pretty big.
The ladies?
Yeah.
Typically,
It's
yeah.
powerful base.
I scour the
I always
internet for
I-
these.
I do also love that there's always a stroller nearby.
Whose baby is this?
Right.
The best is when the hair gets so taken up a notch when the weave comes out.
Yeah, the weave will come
and
out.
they're holding it like it's a scalp.
Yeah. Good times
the
out at the
best.
State Fair.
That girl that got her ass kicked, unfortunately, she was dressed to look cute, not fight. She's in a cardigan sweater,
Right. Little
slippers.
Jimmy Eat World concert look.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not how she
just got-
thought her night was going to end up.
Let's do one more here. Follow up.
But
We don't really have
congrats, Danny. Your fair traffic is over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ended
back to
last
normal.
night.
Yeah.
I was in it, though, a little bit yesterday.
This actually started about 90 minutes ago. Robert Robertson is testifying virtually before state lawmakers. This is the man that was set to be put to death last week.
I respect that you're staying on top of this story.
It's insane.
This is called tracking the news.
It's crazy. And every one of the stories, they try to get the angle of what you got. So usually what you'll get, you call SMU or you call UT or sometimes UNT or UTA, and you're like, I got to get an expert on this. This is political science professor Jim, blah, blah, blah. In this one, everybody they talk to is like, we don't know. This has never happened before. They've never had this wrench thrown into things to try to stay in execution. By the way, that's on the list.
What's the wrench? In execution?
Yeah. Well, he was set to be put to death
last week.
The parole board denied it, and they denied it not really on the merits of his case, but it was some sort of procedural thing. And there's a law in Texas, the junk science law of 2013, that states that you should be awarded a retrial if you were convicted on evidence that is now viewed as like arcane. Like we don't use, stick your hand in hot water to determine if you're a witch anymore. That's a real thing. You don't know about that?
I thought it made you pee.
Oh, yeah, I guess
And if it makes you pee, then you're
a witch. That's
okay.
right. But they're supposed to be looking at this science that was used to convict these people and say, you got to get a new trial. Well, for whatever reason, they've never done it for someone who is going to be put to death. They've only used it for people who are getting life or like very long sentences. And so the only person, from what I gather, that can really stop this is Greg Abbott. And so what it sounds like is that all these lawmakers in Texas, these legislators, both Republican and Democrat, are throwing any Hail Mary they can to get as much attention on this thing as possible so that Greg Abbott eventually will be like, hey, I'm going to take a look at this. I was going to try to do a Greg Abbott, but I don't really know what he sounds like other than just the most generic human being of all time.
I think he's kind of whiny.
He does
I'm
have
Greg
a little
Abbott.
bit of a,
Is that right?
That's
what I assumed.
approaching. So he's got to testify like he's in court, but in front of all of the Texas House today. And then what happens? I don't know, because they only they just delayed it by 30 days. So he's still set to be hit with the cocktail in like 25 days.
Done with his subpoena and his testimony, do they just walk him to the giant wooden chair with straps?
No, that doesn't exist anymore, and it was a 30-day stay. So he does have a few more weeks for something to happen, but
yeah, what do you do? Is he close to the end of a book?
Right. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
Should I start
You don't
another
start
one?
a new one.
Yeah.
He had a PR in mind for like bench or something. And he's like, I'm pretty close.
Maybe you should just read a leaflet and not try to crack open like Infinite Jest, Dan. That's a big book.
All right, we had a very eventful weekend on the campaign trail, and most of it comes from the Donald Trump side. One, because he's Trump, and two, because I'm not really sure that Kamala Harris is doing anything. But it was insane. There's so much here. He worked at a McDonald's because Kamala has said that whenever she was the summer before or after her first year of college, she worked at a McDonald's. And they haven't really offered a ton of details about it, but she has a family member that says, yeah, I remember that, and a friend who says they remember it. But if you're trying to get employment records from 40 years ago, 42
turnover
years ago,
that they have,
it's probably going to be pretty difficult.
Yep.
But again, so this is like the focus. We're going to focus on this, though.
Right. It's just
Not
like the
some
birth
policy
certificate.
or an issue that would help, make your life better, perhaps.
No.
Let's focus on this. Okay.
So Trump's bit was that while he was in Pennsylvania, he would go work at a McDonald's so that, quote, there's at least one member in the race who has.
Okay.
Meanwhile, North Korea is aligning with Russia,
Right.
about to bring soldiers into Ukraine. But no, we need people proving that they're the ones that worked at McDonald's.
Yeah. So he goes to the McDonald's.
I love this country.
Yeah. He goes to the McDonald's and he walks in. Of course, we know he loves McDonald's. It's his favorite restaurant. So much so that he always has it on the plane. And when Clemson won the national title, he served them. Now, this was a bit unstable, but he served them, McDonald's, but also Wendy's. And I want to say like KFC.
It was it was the Jim Miller I-30 fast food buffet.
That's right. That's right. Or like Dan, he was a good dude like Dan does for his family. Goes to multiple fast food restaurants. Like, I like the fries from this place, the shake from this place, and the chicken sandwich from this place. And it looked disgusting because the half-life of that stuff is like eat it right away.
Yep. It doesn't travel
It was
well.
all fast food. It was every fast food place that there is. And
God, they all in suits.
Look how gross.
The other
that
thing
looks.
about it is these guys these days, like my daughter was saying this to me, because she works for now Clemson football. And
they don't
prepares
eat that.
meals every day.
They ain't eating that
No,
crap.
they are not eating this stuff anymore. Like that used to be, when Dirk was coming into the league. That's when 18-year-olds were still eating like this. 18-year-olds now have been training to get into the NFL and whatnot. And yeah, they're eating like LeBron meals. They're eating like Tom Brady now.
Yeah.
They don't eat this stuff. They do not like, oh, yes, fast food. Great. This is what I love. No, they're not pounding fast food. They're eating protein shakes and salmon, and that's what they were hoping to get. You go to the White House, I want some salmon. I want some prime rib.
Yeah, I mean,
And they got
it's
Burger King.
it's funny too because they
BK broiler.
They might eat. That's the best. That's the best photo ever of Trump. Him just looking at all his spread. They might eat it occasionally, Dan, but they definitely don't expect, like you said, that's what they're going to get for winning the national championship.
Right.
Do you
They
remember?
would be like if they said, yeah, let's wear our shorts and sweats now. No, they put on a suit. They want suit food.
He's really in touch with what the kids are eating these days.
Did you? Do you guys remember his tweet about it?
No.
It
Vaguely.
was great being with the national champion Clemson Tigers last night at the White House. Because of the shutdown, I served them massive amounts of fast food. I paid over 1,000 hamburgers.
Oh, is it hamburgers?
Within 1 hour.
Yeah, hamburgers.
All gone. Great guys and big eaters.
Hamburgers.
I am interested in
can't you
the
edit
Twitter
tweets?
influence.
What do you mean?
Are you on the election? Because, the Republicans now would look back and say, oh, man, they were so liberal before and they weren't allowing us to say this and that. That was, they influenced the election
Yeah.
by, Donald Trump when he was saying stuff about January 6th, and they were like, yeah, that's not right. We're kicking you off here. They're like, oh, that influenced things, although that was well after the election.
Hamburgers.
Yeah, you're
But
saying now.
Now
yeah.
I'm just saying, whenever I click on a video, if I click on the video to watch Jameis complain about the Cleveland fans, like immediately after a Republican
Without a doubt.
ad comes up.
Yes, without a doubt.
Like it just happened. It automatically, no matter what video I click on or whatever, the next thing is like an ad or an Elon thing or something. So this is clearly, I mean, the other thing was kind of like could you argue they were trying to influence it? Maybe, but like this is like overtly, hey, the owners of this are all just pushing you in this one way.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see if that, has any effect or not.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how much of an effect it has. It definitely has an effect.
Yeah.
It just might not be enough to sway an election one way or the other. But hell, I mean, I haven't read that much about it, but I'm pretty sure Elon's out here committing like felonies by offering people money to sign a petition to say that they're going to vote a certain. Hell, I don't.
Yeah, there's like a sweepstakes that if you vote a certain way, then you could win $1 million.
If you're in a swing state.
Yeah.
Like, I've always thought that was.
I thought it's funny that
Yeah, I'm in a
Trump,
swing state.
You are.
I thought it's funny that Trump qualified, like it's a big deal that he paid when every one of those restaurants has a 99-cent menu.
Yeah, it's like, oh, awesome, dude. Like, aren't you a billionaire? So he was at McDonald's over the weekend while he was in Pennsylvania, And what's weird is like he's this hardcore McDonald's fan, but also a hardcore clean freak. Like he's an ultra clean freak guy. And so,
is he? Okay.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. Like the guy's a giant pussy. You know what I mean? Like he's never done any sort of like work. You know what I mean? Like he's a kid from Manhattan, or grew up in Manhattan anyways, whose dad was a mogul. It ain't like he's out. His hands have never been dirty in his life. So.
Well, I'm relating to a lot of what you're saying.
Yeah, I know, but so are you.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But you also just eat salmon.
Freak.
You eat
doesn't want to do
salmon
anything.
and broccoli and apples and water, and you know what I mean? Like you're a healthy person. Even when you go to Taco Bell, I want the black bean. Like you eat healthily. Trump eats Big Macs and fries for all the time. And
Does he
drinks
really?
10 Diet Cokes a day. Yeah. And
how is he 78 if that's really what he's lived off of?
Baby. And
That's
he's
crazy.
got the good drugs. But okay, so he's at McDonald's. I could not find the one quote I really wanted because he does this thing sometimes where he doesn't say the word "the." And in this case, the news article read that he went in and said, "I want to work fryer." Because he does that sometimes. He's like, you see truck, big truck. You know what I mean? Like he just leaves out, you see these trucks. He'll say, I saw a truck. And then he walked in and was like, where is it? I want to work fryer. So he was working the fryer. And then they show him he's got his apron on. And he's all spilling out of it because those things are hard to hide under. And they're trying to fill the fries up, and he's scooping them, and the guy's kind of talking him through it, and I thought this was funny.
Well, this is a great job to take at the beginning, and it requires...
That's funny. That part's funny, too, because he's like, but if you stick with it too long, you're a loser.
Well, this is a great job to take at the beginning, and it requires expertise. I'm going through the French fry stuff. It's a whole big process, and it requires great expertise, actually, to do it right and to do it fast, yeah? Well, I do appreciate maybe a little bit more. Yeah, you take it for granted. You say, give me French fries. I'll never forget this experience, okay? Now I know how to do it, and it's very good. But you know what? It's beautiful. It's clean. It's really nice. You never touch them. I always figured somebody stuffs them in with their hand, and I don't like that. And they don't do it that way. You never touch them. It's really great. So I want to thank you all for coming out.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Don't even touch him.
He's never worked a day in his life.
Oh, my God. It's such a great stunt.
It's so
too,
funny. How could you not laugh at this, no matter who you want to vote for? It's great.
Okay, so while he was in Latrobe, which apparently is the birthplace of one Arnold Palmer, the golfer, the legend, Rolling Rock, there you go.
The Latrobe Brewery in
Trump, as we know, as he's just talking about what big guys the Clemson team is, and there was a governor from West Virginia named Jim. I think his last name also started with a J, but it's failing me now. But the guy was massive. He was like 6'6", 320, and I would always wait for Trump to go to West Virginia because Trump was obsessed with this guy. He's like, look at him. Look at Big Jim. He's a big man. He's so big. Look at him. Look at Big Jim.
Jim Justice?
Jim Justice. Look at the guy. He's a massive galoot. And Trump just sees like big guys and he's like, that's awesome. It's awesome that you're huge. He's obsessed with masculinity, right?
Yeah.
So here's his Arnold Palmer.
Like Jerry and
exactly, McCarthy.
But Arnold Palmer was all man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women.
All right, what does that mean?
Jeez.
You can be all man and not be disrespecting women. It's a weird thing to say, but also I love women.
The way he says
But
it.
Arnold Palmer was all man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this guy,
they applaud that.
This is a guy that was all man. This man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God. That's unbelievable. I had to say it. We have women that are highly sophisticated here.
What?
I don't
He
even
had a
know.
big wiener.
Yeah, he was.
What are you saying?
He was
He had
slanging.
What?
He wasn't going to, but he ended up having.
I
let
refuse to
everyone
say
know
it, but Arnold Palmer had a huge cock.
Highly sophisticated women.
Yeah.
They don't like a big, throbbing golf dick. It's so ridiculous.
What the hell?
But I would say that for me, that was not the highlight of the Trump campaign trail this weekend. Because the founder and owner of hashtag CTESPN, 6th round draft pick, Antonio Brown, has jumped on the Trump train, along with his former teammate who wrecked Blake's fantasy football season, Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell posted a photo of himself wearing a T-shirt that said Trump or the Tramp over the weekend, which is much more like something you would see on a huge sign in my neighborhood than I would expect an NFL player to be wearing. But in any case, because the Trump team, really the Republicans have suffered from this for a long time, although it hasn't really hurt them that much. But there's not that many cool people, famous cool people who want to be Republican. It's like, oh, you got Kevin Sorbo, and you know what I mean?
Chachi.
Yeah, and Scott Baio,
Kid
Rock. It's like, what if we have like George Clooney and Bruce Springsteen on the other side? Like, they don't have a ton of them coming out for them.
Right.
So when they do, they got to
They
capitalize.
just accept whoever.
They have to.
Right? Yeah,
And
like
especially
because they would never like Antonio Brown.
no. But the thing
They would have
is,
hated him.
he's not just cool to some people. He's black, and this is a joke we make with one of my buddies all the time. With KJ, we're like, dude, there's a lane for you. Like, if you just want to play this grift, you know, you're a well put together guy. You're very successful professionally. There's a spot for you if you wanted a Fox News lane. So I don't know that Antonio Brown's going to get that. But once he started tweeting about how much he loved Trump, I'm sure someone from their campaign and comms reached out to him, and somehow they had this guy who is barely a functioning human being anymore. His brain is so gone. He's got, you know, the 6 babies by 5 women. I'm pretty sure Vontez Burfict broke his brain 10 years ago. He just rambles and says sometimes hilarious but really weird stuff on Twitter. They had him speak. So here he is speaking at a Trump rally. I got a few cuts here. He's working in some of the Trump nicknames. And if you guys remember his catchphrase, it was businesses. Like, you don't remember?
No.
Business is booming. That's what he would always hashtag all of his highlights with. He'd be like, with AB, business is booming.
But before I get too deep in my speech, I want to say, I know the media is going to call me crazy, me and Trump crazy for having me speaking here. But I want to make this clear. We are not. They are.
Okay, that was our first please clap, followed by really weird laugh. There's a lot of please claps in here.
They are.
Supposed to clap or...
You know Kamala Harris and Tim Watts, do you really know they want to put tampons in the boys' bathroom? Is that crazy? That's really insane, right? And by the way, tampon Tim Watts,
Yeah.
he isn't a real football coach. He could never guard me. Guys, how is business? Business will be booming going against Tim Watts. Tampon Tim Watts. It'd be really booming going against him. Now back to the rest of my speech.
Yeah, before we do that, let's just take a minute here.
Is that a good point? If your coach can't guard you,
Yeah.
I would hope.
Were any of them good points?
That's like the most cringe stand-up bit that
It's
I've ever
very
ever
hard to
heard.
listen to. I mean, he
Wow.
he sounds mentally disabled right now.
Is he reading?
I don't know that
gotta
that's
be.
still something that he's capable of doing.
He's trying.
Yeah, it does sound very much like the Floyd Mayweather Stars and Stripes promo for the Breakfast Club. And did you know it? Tampon Tim wants to put tampon in boys' bathroom. Boo. Here's a very awkward please clap.
I came to Pittsburgh as a 6th-round draft pick and underdog, but the people in the city really embraced me. They knew what it was like to be an underdog. My time here taught me to embody the spirit of Pittsburgh, a blue-collar, hard-working with people that are resilient and face challenges head-on.
How bad is that? That is a very long hang time. A more weird laugh here.
And speaking of pushing forward in a better future, we are here to support our 45th president, soon to be the 47th president, Donald J. Trump.
Why is that funny?
All right, this is 30
That's
seconds
sad.
of the most. It is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But this is 30 seconds of one of the most confusing diatribes I've ever heard. I guess, like Trump sells coins and stuff.
Uh-huh.
MAGA coins. Maybe there's like an actual crypto. I have no clue what's going on, but I don't think Antonio does either.
With Donald Trump, we will strive as a nation.
What? Scribe?
Wait.
We're all going to turn
Start
into
it over.
writers?
We will what?
Yeah, it's kind of a
Strive?
It's kind of a Jameis. If I'm strong, he's strong. Or if you strong, I'm strong. But
With Donald Trump, we will strive as a nation.
he's going for strive.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
With Donald Trump, we will strive as a nation. A MAGA movie. You guys ever seen a MAGA movie? Well, today is a
All right, so
Who's that? Who's this hype man?
I think he has.
have.
I
Let's
think
go.
he has one guy there who kind of was somewhat of his handler or set this up, who knows when to like respond in the way that Antonio Brown was like. That's when a black guy would
Yeah.
respond to me. Yeah, but the rest of the crowd's like, "What the hell's going on?" I have, yes, sir.
You guys ever seen a MAGA movie? Well, today is a MAGA movie theater. And shout out to MAGA, the MAGA coin, and the greatest president coin going, a MAGA coin.
What, is there
Have
another
you guys
one?
ever seen a MAGA movie? Make some noise if you've seen the MAGA movie.
What is happening?
I told you, dude. It sounds like they just got a special needs person up there and handed him a couple of index cards and were like, just to say some of this, it won't matter. Have you guys ever seen a MAGA movie? MAGA coin, MAGA movie theater. it's
What are the odds? Let's put some odds on the next guy to join the party. Deshaun Watson?
Nah, I doubt it.
Just the next celebrity out of nowhere that you wonder, because it can kind of get him some play. I don't know what that means. I don't know. You can go to the mailbox and get your play money.
We already have like your Max Crosby and Gardner Minshew, but those were easy plays. Like those guys.
Yeah,
you see that
just
from
the
a mile
next
away.
person to emerge and be at a rally. Like, oh, look, they got guy that brandished a weapon at the
that's
St. Louis parade or whatever. Like all of a sudden he's at the rally.
Here's the last one.
I was blessed to be surrounded by these values, including grit, loyalty, hard work, and I took these with me every time I laced them up and stepped on the field.
The same one.
But I'm here today representing a man who carries those same values. Donald Trump.
Just had no idea. Just no idea when to clap.
Well, when you hear Donald Trump, that's a good cue.
Yeah. There's your news for today, Blake.
The Dumb Zone.
I feel sad.
Why?
Like,
Listening to him, it is kind of sad.
subscribe.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Sean?
Sure.
Wealth Management 360.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, man.
He can be your money expert. In fact, I think he's Dan's.
I met with him. Yeah, me
How'd
and the
that
wife
go?
met with him.
Now, is it because
Looked over some stuff. It's great.
Is it because he's good at wealth management, or is it because he's not super old and will die tomorrow?
I believe all of those things are part of the equation. You should check out his website, Blake. It is DallasFinancialPlanner.net. He'll answer questions. He's just kind of guy that'll kind of look at what you got, and he'll come to you if you need him to. You can go out to his place, but just kind of taking a look at what you got and trying to set you up for the future as far as putting it in the right place. Make your money, make money for you for the future. I don't know. Is that what he does?
Yeah, what he does is he does that so you don't have to because you don't know anything.
Yeah, he's been a certified financial planner for 18 years.
CFP.
Kind of identifies with us as a small business owner as well. He worked for the man for a long time, but then now has branched off and is doing his own thing. But yeah, kind of figure out how much money you have to have saved before you retire. He will give you advice on that. He just can kind of help you in all kinds of areas. So you should check out that website, which is
DallasFinancialPlanner.net.
There you go. And he's a good dude.
He's
we like to work with good dudes.
Whole scene.
All right.
Go to the website. Check it out. Look at all the cool pictures.
The Dumb Zone presents Today in History.
Now, who's doing this when I'm gone?
Blaker.
Danny, do you have it?
Blake, you've been doing it. Do you want me to do it?
I got you.
He just does this every
Blake
day.
was pulling out some comedy there.
Yeah. He acts like I'm supposed to do it, and I forgot, but then he goes, I got it, dude. Don't worry.
Well, let me see what I can rattle off.
Hey,
off the top of my head, what do I
Don't-
have?
Don't fix what ain't broke, Blake. Don't you know what
Now,
I mean?
who's prepping it when I'm gone?
Was that the whole setup?
Of course it was.
No, but I just thought of it. If you wanted to sit here and bask in all the credit.
Dan has to let everybody know that unlike anyone else, he still gets some work done when he's gone, and
Yeah,
he's
and so much, he
grinding.
didn't have time to make his bed because he was prepping this segment for you to take all the credit for, Blake.
Well, I had 30 days without you giving me extra stuff, so I don't want to hear it.
All right, Dan wrote, today is Monday, October 21st, the 295th day of the year.
Dan.
71 days left in the year. Dan wrote on this day.
I only highlighted part of it, though. You read the whole thing, then.
Dan wrote.
You know, I highlight the good ones, but do you read every single thing I put on there?
Dan wrote in 2137, B.C. The first recorded total eclipse of the sun occurred in China, period.
Why'd you put all that extra stuff in there, Dan?
What is happening? Oh, wow. We have an eclipse graphic.
Oh, yeah.
Who
Yeah, it
made
was the
that?
first ever eclipse, recorded eclipse, and Blake left. Blake doesn't like eclipsi.
Even in China, they were like,
Yeah.
we got better stuff to do. In China in 2137
Dude, they were fired
BC.
up.
I don't know. In 1879, Thomas Edison perfected a workable electric light in his lab.
So they.
Does that mean it was invented by someone else?
That does seem to be sort of.
Or he invented it a year prior.
Implying that. And also, I would take issue with the term perfected because that would mean they never changed the light bulb again, which they've done thousands of times.
True.
That's because they had to plan obsolescence.
Ah, that's true. Stay woke.
He had a perfect one made back then.
In 1921, President Warren G. Harding delivered a speech in which he condemned lynchings.
In the strongest of terms.
Committed primarily by white supremacists against black Americans in the Deep South. So basically, he's like, hey, enough.
Yeah.
This had been
Cut it
such
out.
a thing
1921.
Don't make me come over there.
that the president had to come out and be like, look,
Cut it out.
stop this, man.
Please stop.
Look, just kill him.
And they were like, oh, okay.
And it's funny. Yeah, it's funny that he's not. All right, this
He's
whole.
like, look, we can just keep them down economically. We
Look,
won't give them loans.
Hell, for all I care, you can still do the extrajudicial murdering
Just
part.
stop
Just
drawing-
don't hang in them.
Yeah, don't-
The tree thing is just weird.
Unnecessary
Yeah.
attention to yourselves, guys. Come on. Be
Right.
smart.
Now
Just call a cop. They'll do it behind closed doors. Just don't do it yourself.
There's no cell phone cameras. It's 1921.
Use your taxes.
I kind of don't want to read the only one he highlighted, just to be spiteful, but I'll read it. In 2004, Emerson College student Victoria Snellgrove died hours after being shot in the eye with a pepper spray pellet fired by police, trying to control a raucous crowd outside Fenway Park, where the Red Sox had just won the American League Championship.
A yay boo.
Man, they made it to the World Series.
Won the World Series.
Oh, made it.
Yep.
Then let's see. In 2021, Alec Baldwin was pointing a gun on a movie set in New Mexico when it went off and killed cinematographer something Hutchins.
And they weren't even celebrating a come from 3-0 down in the American League Championship Series and come back and win the World
No.
Series.
Also wounded a director. Charges of involuntary manslaughter against Baldwin were dropped in July of this year.
Man, I got down some Twitter wormhole one time about that case that basically had it connected back to like the JFK assassination. Like Alec Baldwin is, I don't know, the Hollywood elites and everything, and I look up and it's like the president's a lizard. I'm like, damn.
Your internet is different than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Birthdays today. Your war leader, Zach Greinke, is 41.
Once dated a Cowboys cheerleader.
Yeah.
And is pound for pound one of the weirdest athletes of all time.
77.5 WAR. Is that like you've never thought of Zach Greinke as a Hall of Famer?
Yes, I have.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what Jake talks about all the time.
Are you guys on board with that? Are you willing to stand up for that, Blake? Zach Greinke in the Hall of Fame?
I'm with you. I probably don't think Hall of Famer, but that's a pretty good war right there. The longest neck ever.
Give us a call.
Davis Mills is 26.
The longest what ever?
Neck.
Look it up.
Yeah, as opposed to Arnold Palmer.
What about is it Gannon?
What does he have?
Not Gannon.
Merton Hanks?
Glennon. Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon. You did used to say Glennon, didn't you?
Very long neck, yeah.
Yeah. I used to say that Mike Glennon looked like Earthworm Jim. You guys remember Earthworm Jim?
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Thank you, Blake.
Earthworm Jim?
It was a cartoon.
No.
Yeah, he was an earthworm. But see, I got this name because...
There's more.
Jake, Joey Harrington is 46.
Big miss on my part. Big miss on my part. The good news is I was not an NFL GM like Matt Millen was. I was about as qualified as he was.
Ricky Rubio is 34.
Damn.
And I think that's younger than I thought.
He was so young when he got drafted, dude. And he didn't come over
14.
for a long time. That was a crazy draft, man.
Willis McGahee is 43.
Because, okay, so the Timberwolves had 3 picks in the first round. The first one was at number 6, where they took Johnny Flynn out of Syracuse. At number 7 went Stephen Curry. Like, they needed a point guard, but let's see. They took Ty Lawson, another point guard, at 18. And I want to say another point guard later.
Harden was 3.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting draft.
Oh, you're saying after Rubio, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general, the Timberwolves were a team that drafted 3 point guards in that draft, and they didn't get Steph Curry or Ricky Rubio. It's just a fun fact. Also, the Roddy B draft.
No, I'm looking. Roddy B was drafted?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he's...
First rounder.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Danny Charlotte Caffey is 71.
Familiar. Can't tell you.
The
Sounds
Go-Go's.
familiar. The what's that?
The Go-Go's.
Ah, okay.
Jeremy Miller is 48. This says growing pains.
Jeremy.
Oh, I remember this guy. Yeah. That show
Jeremy.
sucked.
Glenn Powell is 36. Kane Brown is 31, Jake.
Charlotte. Kane Brown played Cowboys halftime show on Thanksgiving, and to show you how uncountry the country singers are now, once had to call 911 because he got lost on his own property. And it was getting dark, and he was like, I'm afraid.
What, did he have
so
a
he
big
wasn't like
edible before?
N-word guy?
Nah, that's Morgan Wallen. And by the way, full bounce back. Like, more popular than
The
ever.
most popular singer in country music is arguably him.
Shockingly,
Morgan Wallen?
finding out that he casually uses the N-word did not end his career.
Not in that industry.
No.
And then I have 5 more birthdays that I think I have ranked in order.
Wait. You have him or he had him?
This is me.
Okay.
But I can give Dan credit if he wants it because
he needs
names
it.
were on the list.
Yep.
But I think I'm going to build towards your favorite, Jake.
Okay.
Beginning at the bottom, Amber Rose is 41.
Kanye and Wiz Khalifa.
Singer Doja Cat is 29.
Hey, no. You like Doja Cat, Jake? Is she on your pop playlist when you're lifting weights?
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
Hope Hicks is 36.
Oh, my God.
Big fan.
SMU grad, Trump aide. She's fantastic. She's got a bright future in politics.
So to let you know, there's 2 above her, I think.
Wow.
She was a model, too.
No way.
Wasn't she?
When
Yeah.
Trump is trying to hire, when Trump's trying to fill out his political dream team of all the yet brightest young minds, he's not getting a Garofalo lookalike or Rachel Maddow or...
No.
They got hots over there on the right.
Oh, yeah.
82 today. Judge Judy.
Oh, God. Just an absolute wagon.
That's her?
And she's worth like $500 million.
She's so
I
rich.
guess I've never seen her
owns all of it.
until she was already old.
Have you ever seen her as like an 80-year-old in a dress that's very flattering to her bottom?
No, I've not.
It's insane.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought she was 82 when she was on TV.
She's still on.
Didn't you
Really?
watch her in rehab every day?
Quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see what comes up when I type in Judge Judy ass. Bro.
Isn't she worth a lot?
We just said that.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She is
What'd
worth
you
like
say?
$500 million. She owns the whole thing.
Yeah, it's her production company, her idea, all of it.
Dan, type in Judge Judy ass and do an image search. There's one.
Oh, I was doing net worth, but okay, I'll do it.
Come on, whatever.
Just highlight net worth and replace it with ass.
Images. Is it the orange suit she's wearing there?
Orange
Or
with the black one next to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not a big ass man.
Boy, oh wow, okay.
It's probably Photoshop, but I don't care.
That's one of the things that America has. If I'm running, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah, well,
what the fascination
America,
with
the Make America Great Again. Let's just cut that down a little bit.
Absolutely not.
You know, my era.
I'm going to
back
donate
in
to
my
a
day,
political
we had,
campaign to keep you from getting into office.
I'm going to give $1
back
million.
in my day, we had anorexia and bulimia, and we liked it.
Yeah, me and
'Cause
Dan
we didn't
come.
want the fat asses, and
we
now
come
it's like,
from the-
oh, eat all you want.
No,
from the
Proud of your
Kate Moss
body.
era.
Like,
It's
they're all
because,
fat and
Dan,
ass.
you guys are discounting squats. Chicks be lifting legs now. It's a real thing.
More like jugs, Judy.
Damn. Stacked up.
And
yeah, there's nothing you could do for that.
Finally, Jake, Kim Kardashian's 44.
The GOAT. The hottest woman to
Again.
ever live. The hottest woman to ever live.
And it's all her fault, this whole ass thing.
Yep, she started it.
Yeah.
No, did you guys just miss like all of the early 90s of hip hop
Yes,
culture?
we did. You had to tell me about Reasonable Doubt, Jake. And that was like, what, 15 years ago?
Look, you got
Yeah.
there as soon as you could.
I did.
Let's go dead on this day, still dead first. Died at 47, Jack Kerouac.
Oh. Big time for me and Danny.
Yeah, who didn't carry around a
On the road.
copy of On the Road paperback in their back pocket?
Yep. Like I mentioned last week, that was right there with, I'll watch Garden State for 1,000th time with you on trying to get laid by indie chicks.
1970, John T. Scopes.
Used to work.
The Evolution Guy. 1980,
Monkey Trials.
Hans
That's-
Asperger.
What?
What do you think he invented?
Yeah, the disease.
In 2003, Fred Berry. Rerun.
Oh, man.
Now, born on this day, now dead, we've got Ronald McNair. Dan writes, astronaut with a yeah boo story. The second African American in space. The boo died in the Challenger explosion.
Oh, man. Boo. The one that didn't really impact me.
I was going
much
to say, you had
as a kid.
little set on that early.
You know.
Also born on this day, now dead, Carrie Fisher.
Princess Leia.
Did you give a shit about the Challenger when it exploded, Dan? Or were you kind of like, oh, wow. I think you were probably, what,
I mean, it-
junior in high school or something? Or
Much like Jake's reaction to 9/11.
Yeah.
We were in the lab immediately with jokes.
Okay. Yeah, same. It did not affect me at all.
And in trouble immediately back in the vice principal's office because why is it always you guys? Why is it always like, I don't know. We're just funny.
Deal with it.
Dan has told us his CB handle was the Challenger.
I had a white 1977 Ford Pinto was the first car I ever had. And if you remember the Ford Pinto, Danny.
Yeah, allegedly, if you rear-ended a Pinto, it would explode because the gas tank was poorly designed.
I believe there was some basis for that. There's recalls immediately.
Yeah, they fixed the problem.
Might have happened to a few cars.
Right, yeah.
But then it was always known as that was the exploding car. And it was white. And I had a CB. So it was out of my hands on naming.
It kind of just, the handle named itself, didn't it, Dan? Really wasn't your choice.
And finally, Alfred Nobel.
Of the prize?
Founded the Nobel Prize and invented dynamite.
I don't know. I don't know if that's enough to be able to name the prize. Like, that's a pretty haughty move. Like, I invented one thing that's kind of cool and probably wasn't that hard. And you're like, now, forever, the thing that was the best invention this year shall be named after me. Like, I don't know if we already had gunpowder. Wasn't it just like, it's almost like rolling a joint.
Right, yeah.
Packing it up, yeah.
It's a gunpowder joint.
Oh, man, brilliant, dude.
Put a fuse in it and run.
This guy made a light bulb.
What if you had tobacco was invented, but there was no way, and then you invented the cigarette? Wouldn't you be like, pretty good? Thank you.
Man, I guess, but
We're figuring out a way for us to get high off this thing.
I still just don't know about, like, I want to know about the process where he's like trying to claim this is his bit forever. Did Hitler win one, or was it just Time Man of the Year?
He was on the cover of Time, I believe.
Person of the Year?
Mm-hmm.
Did Obama win a Nobel Prize?
I think so, yeah, because Trump
now they have like the Peace Prize.
Well, Trump was bitching about it the other day.
He was bitching about.
No, I just know that he was complaining, saying that he should have got one if Obama got one, because really Obama should have got one. All right, Dan. Well, what does the rest of the day have in store for you? What is it there? 3:15.
I'm going to go to dinner with Mom. So Mom was complaining the other day because we went to dinner, and she can't hear out of one ear. Because she's all old, and I guess that happens sometimes. You just like one of the ears stop working. So she couldn't hear, like we were just yelling. It was a loud restaurant. So I have chosen a restaurant that I'm sure will be empty because
we've been to it.
No.
Oh.
I've never been there. It's vegan. Have you ever gone to a vegan place and seen anyone in there?
Well, the only one I've ever been to
in
was in a hippie avant-garde area of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
So that one's packed. But yeah, I would imagine in the land of
Cleveland?
sausage.
In general.
I don't know why.
I remember being looked at sideways when trying to order something without meat. The last time I was up here and we were at breakfast with some friends, and they were like, "What? Can I get it without the sausage?" They're like, "Why?
What do you want us to do with it?"
Yeah,
put it in your butt. Why don't you just walk across the street? Take her there. It's a nice place.
Yeah. She'd be overwhelmed by the menu, though.
Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah.
Menu, and then it's also very loud.
Very loud.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll be back tomorrow. Dan will be back later on this week.
Adios, mofo.
We gotta go before this becomes a zoo.
Thank you for watching my video. Subscribe and type for my name if you want to watch more of my videos.